Welcome back, fine anime enthusiasts. Today, Zack and William will discuss, dissect, and disabuse anyone of any idea or belief that Infinite Ryvius is anything other than a sometimes overbloated timeless classic that plumbs the depths of the intermingling of humankind's veritable panoply of psychological profiles. Today, you will find out about a true diamond in the rough. An old and obscure 90s anime awaits you. Is it a hidden gem, or is it a tarnished old mess? Well, motherfucker, you're about to find out on the 29th installment of the Weebinar.
That was beautiful. I'm about to cry.
Like all the fun, fancy words.
Yeah.
But anyway, how are you today, Zach?
I'm doing well.
You're doing well? That's good to hear. I hope you're ready to do this. You picked this.
Yeah.
So, first off, before we get too far, I want to thank you. That's the person who's watching right now, and also the subscribers out there. We appreciate you, and we're grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk about cartoons as grown men on the internet for fun. That's pretty great. Thank you all for enabling our hobbies like that. We appreciate your presence, and we look forward to really kind of bringing this one home, because this is going to be another doozy. Let's get into it, huh? This episode is going to flow a lot like the last one. There will be a shortened, much shortened recap, accompanied by clips and our commentary, followed by a specific set of in-depth topics that will break down in fine detail. With that said, this is a 10-hour fucking anime, and this is a 22-page recap. So this is going to take some time, and if you don't particularly want to spend that time with us, that's completely fine. We understand. If you want to go ahead and skip in time, go ahead and go to this here timestamp that's currently floating around Zach's chest, and then moving up to it to my hand right here. Yeah, go to there. Go right there if you don't want to hear this 10-hour anime that I'm about to recap in the Red Letter Media style. So to those of you that are still with us, thank you. And we appreciate the fact that you stuck around not only through those numbers and letters being up here, but also that pause break right there. Good on you. You're really good. You really are a dedicated person, and we appreciate that. So, Zach, are you ready to unpack this stack of whack and a crack flashback?
My body is ready, but my mind isn't. Or is it the opposite? I don't know. I guess I'm ready to plunge into the depths. Plunge into the unholy depths of the teenage mind.
So, okay. Really quick, I guess, before we get started, I'll go through a quick little bit of the facts here. This was released, this is Infinite Ryvius, right? Released to the public on October 6th of 1999, making it, we're probably about 4 days away from its 35th anniversary as of this recording right now.
Wow, it's old.
Yep, it's pretty old, so we're coming up on basically a 25-year-old anime. And this can, Infinite Ryvius can start drinking Corona with me.
It really is infinite now.
Yep, it really is, and it's going to go on forever. Hopefully, what we do here makes it more infinite than it is, because it's kind of finite Ryvius at this point, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, waiting for season 2 still.
Yeah, we still are. Hey, man, there might be a season 2. I don't know. Who knows? Hopefully.
Man, hold out, man. It's got to happen eventually.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
No, they would just have to reboot it after 40 years.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, directed by Goro Taniguchi, written by Yosuke Kuroda and Hajime Yatate. And, here on the screen right now, right there, after that pause, that power pause, totally a bunch of fucking other people that were involved in this too. Didn't have time to write all those down, but I wanted to. I wanted to get like a good, big, large fact sheet, but I had to write down the character list, which is all of that in between my fingers right there. We're not going to get into the characters just yet. Well, actually, we're going to get things started with the plot itself, and then we'll take it back a level to analyze the characters themselves. Episode 1, okay? Kouji goes to the Liba Delta to earn his navigator's license. We are shown, I guess it's like a worker pod number 12, getting BTFO'd by the Godot. We meet all of the main characters. Station begins a, quote, controlled descent into the Godot. A direct quote is, never mind what she says, she's emotionally unstable.
Never mind what she says. She's emotionally unstable.
Which is just one of those just all-time great fucking lines in like any kind of media, by the way. Like every time I hear it, it makes me laugh. That's totally why it's probably one of the only direct quotes that's it's going to be in this damn thing, because it's so hard to get into actual dialogue. I really just try to sum up what happens. A good advice: you should probably calm down and gain a stable hold over your emotions before you start saying crazy things.
Yeah, we got the best quote on the first episode.
For sure. Something happens, and the Leva Delta gets borfed. Yuki and Kouji fight to end the episode. There's a lot of setup as far as like the characters' inner reactions. This episode actually bookends the last episode and the first episode. So similar from the way that they start to the way that they end. Where they start, where they end, and like who's introduced when. And it's something that's really cool to watch the second time through. Once you have a much better grasp over all these goddamn characters. Episode 2 opens with, quote, how we got here, exposition dump, and it explains more or less a lot about the Gadult and the Gadult phenomenon and what happened with, what was it like, I can't remember exactly what caused it, but long story short, there's an ocean of like gas that now surrounds the entire atmosphere.
One day the sun took a shit.
Yeah, that's what I thought, that the sun exploded.
I can't remember exactly what caused it, but some climatic event happened, and then that was it, and then everything, and like 90% of life died. Everybody's dead except for these few people.
So it's both climatic and climactic, huh? Because you said climatic, and I kind of laughed, but no, that changed the climate. It really did. It is a climatic event. So
that was definitely a slip.
It was a good one. Anyway, everyone is pooping their pants about the Leva Delta's situation. The power system begins to fail. Yuli tells everyone that the clock is ticking, literally giving us our ticking clock, which is great setup, great to have in your second episode to already start to show that you can build tension inside of the episode itself. Hysteria ensues. Everyone moves to evacuate Leva Delta. The only option is to launch the quote-unquote training ship. The remaining adults and Hero, they sacrifice themselves. Because why?
Are you tying it into the end of the anime, or just like at that moment?
Yeah, no, the end of it. But Pat's dad talks about it to him beforehand anyway.
Secrets, super secrets.
Responsibilities.
Oh.
You have a responsibility, son. And you'll understand when you become older that sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Big time theme coming back.
Doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, and sacrificing oneself, like, when you must for the good of an entire civilization for 487 teenagers.
And then that guy's kid, right off the bat.
Yeah, we got the death flag. I guess we're going to show a little Pat montage here.
I'm glad you came up here, but I won't have any free time until after the dive.
What does that mean?
The Leva Delta is going to make a controlled descent into the Gadult.
It's falling?
There's nothing to worry about. It's only temporary. Because our course will take us right into Shear 1, we'll lose most of our image and communication abilities to interference. That's why we're closing the training facilities during the dive.
Then just hurry it up and get the whole thing over with.
Now you're being selfish. I promise we'll do anything you want once I get some time off, okay?
Okay.
Is the Zwei training crew there yet?
Yeah, they're in the middle of the final briefing right now.
Good to hear. Keep to the schedule and have them do a navigation simulation. Pat, it looks like I've got to go out for a moment.
Again?
I've got to go to work. Just wait in your room. I'll be right back. Take this.
Why is it always work, work, work?
Don't be so hard on me. We'll do whatever you want when I get back. Behave yourself while I'm gone, okay? Right then. Smile for your old man.
Bye, Dad. See ya.
No, don't. You can't go out there now.
You know what'll happen if you do this, don't you?
As adults, we're responsible for our charges. You'll learn what I'm talking about soon enough.
Teacher!
I can't hold it any longer! Don't give up! Just a little longer. They're all counting on us. Ready. On 1, 3, 2, 1, go!
I'm so sorry, Pat. I couldn't keep my promise to you.
Separate! I beg you!
Oh yeah,
the way
there's
they
so many
animate
death
him,
flags. Oh my
And the
god.
way they animate Pat too, you know it's coming. It's like the sad face and you know what I'm saying? His eyes are huge, so like you can just see it coming. Like no, they're making him. He's Wooby, right?
Yeah, it's like the only child on the show.
He's Wooby. He's the thing that you feel sad for automatically, right? And remember, like the destroyer of worlds is like when that thing that you feel sad for automatically is actually all powerful as pure hatred and destruction. So yeah, that ending is pretty tough. That's also a pretty raw emotional scene because we got that built up between Pat and his dad in that first episode, and then we got to see it basically take its full effect there at the end.
Yeah.
And that's a heavy ass emotional moment. Episode 2, another theme. It's coming back. Episode 3 opens with the kids flipping and bad 90s rap kid comfort rapping.
Like, nobody has given this dude a freaking blanket or something.
What is that thing?
I say everything's gonna be all right. That's why I said what it takes. The instructors are with us too. They're the aspirin for our headaches. They're gonna pull us through.
I knew it, dude. There it is. There's one of that 90s cool.
The operations team needs help.
But I work for the equipment team.
Bars, son. I mean, it's got bars, kid. Throw it down.
This anime definitely loves the 90s.
It's very emblematic of the time.
In Christ Almighty, this is some I've never. And listen, I'm gonna.
Just the other day, I said we'd be okay. I'm like a genius. I'm never wrong about this. My psychic prognosis.
I thought I told you to shut the hell up.
No, the situation.
It's so bad. It's so fucking bad. And I understand, okay, so there's a measure of this, and we'll talk more about it when we talk about how 90s this is later on, which is also a theme that's coming back, my friend. I swear to God, this is some of the worst and stupidest shit I've ever seen in an anime. Like, I swear, like him as a character, but at the same time, I love that he's there because it's a society of children, right? There's a bunch of disparate personalities here. And to have that guy be there is just like that guy at school who was always doing stupid that you just hated, like on site, you know what I mean? That one person who is just like completely polar opposite opposed to you as far as on the personality spectrum, psychologically. So there's just like no way you two are ever getting along with one another. Just because of the way your personalities are set up, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that, and that's why I like it at the same time. But fucking Christ, why did they give him lines, man? Oh my God. And I'll watch it again in Japanese just to see if it's any fucking better. It's probably worse, to be honest. It's probably worse.
Yeah. The Japanese imitating that in the 90s, that's gotta be bad.
Ryvius! Yeah, cool!
Yeah, he's so super cool.
You know what I mean? Like, oh God. Anyway. So Bad 90s Rap Kid is comfort rapping because he's, in a harsh situation and he has to calm down.
Rap blues.
So Kouji sees Naya for the first time, and then he and Ikumi find dead bodies left by the guys who started the actual sabotage that's going on here, which I spoiled a lot right there for you. But well, they rush to the bridge to find the guys who hijacked the station, holding the Zweis at gunpoint. Ikumi pulls a fast one, then Blue and the boys whoop some ass, which is another thing that's coming back. They almost launch, but the other group of hijackers try to pull the ship down. And then just before death, the Ryvius activates, and the other baddies detach. We see the Ryvius to end the episode, right? And
yeah, it's a hype.
And remember that I actually really tried to track in these notes who sees who, specifically one of the people that was mentioned there, and we'll definitely be coming back. Episode 4 opens with the flashback and kids flipping over the current situation. Again, another theme. Blue and the boys lock up the hijackers. So I'd say you got good Turtle and the 3 is Dumb Charlie. The Zweis realize what's happening and assert their leader. we have now in place, episode 4 is now the first governmental body basically governing this situation. For reasons we will definitely dig directly into. You know, because the Zvi's were the best people, the best training operatives, and that's laid out really clearly. So Yuli explains the situation so far to all of the kids. Afterwards, the Zvi enter the Ryvius bridge and get to work. The kids join them shortly after. Everyone gets settled into their living quarters. First time we see the Mecha, and then the episode's over. And it's that shot where it's in the dark, and that's episode 4, right? And you were right, like the first time we watched this, but I didn't catch it, I guess. But it's like just there at the end of the episode. They showed that weird goofy bitch with the hair and the outfit. This bitch right here. That's her.
Oh yeah,
that's her too.
that lady.
Yeah, her name's Naya. I've already said it, but it's okay.
Naya.
Now you know. Naya, you know, motherfucker. Episode 5 opens with the kids figuring out how to use the ship as they inspect it. Ikumi and Yuki unlock the craft from the ship and takes it out to get a view of the ship, which everyone else is shown all across the ship. So it's the first time that the kids actually get to see the ship. Now everybody on the ship understands, oh, okay, I'm in it. Okay, cool.
Cool, government secret weapon, awesome.
Right, but good foundation to lay. And this is a thing we're going to get into later. The setting of this, the way that they did this is really smart. So now everybody knows that they're there. They all understand that they're on a ship, right? So the Mecha is revealed in all its glory. Luxon details his, quote, discipline through merit plan, my friend. Vessel detected. Blue and the boys kill the 2 hijackers. Maybe not. Hard to tell where they leave it. The Ryvius is attacked just as Yuki and Kouji start fighting again. Naya activates a gravity field which BTFOs the attackers. They have it literally throws them out of orbit, right? And they crash, I think. Something like that. It definitely BTFOs them for sure. In a technical sense.
Yeah.
Episode 6, right, opens with the Zvi's figuring out they were attacked. Big time backstory for the Aiba bros. The Zvi decide to use the robot. It is decided to let the hijackers die in the training ship by Luxon. The vital garter is christened. Ikumi confronts Yuki over his treatment of Kouji. Ryvius attacked again. Naya saves the bacon again. Hijackers get knocked off. Blue gets mad that no one tried to send him. That's important for Blue. It's important to know that about him before that all happens, before certain other things take place.
Air's Blue.
Yeah, what a stupid name, by the way. Like Air.
I remember his full name because it's so stupid.
It is kind of
Air's Blue.
It's kind of.
And they say his full name a lot in the anime.
Yes, they do.
Air's Blue. With his appearance, the Ryvius undergoes a violent upheaval.
Episode 7 opens with more backstory about the world. Blue and the boys decide to enact a mutiny. Charlie is outed as an informant. Captain Conrad picks up the hijackers after they jettison them from the ship. Blue's boys reveal all to the ship's occupants, including what the Zvi's were hiding. Blue beats Yuki into submission. Literally beats him into submission. Luxon sees a, quote, space squid deep in the Gadol in the episode 2. That's not a lot happens. And, cherish these short episodes while we got them, because, the last couple of episodes are, 2 pages.
Yeah, it's not like a whole lot happens here. They hype you up so much because they show you the vital garter and all this stuff. Look how cool this stuff is. And
Right.
all right, use it more. I want to see it.
Sure.
And then, no, we gotta examine the social landscape for 2 episodes first.
Yeah. And that's basically how that works. They have to basically paint that social mosaic. But it's cool. Like I said, a lot of the stuff is set up is really smart. Episode 8 opens with a shot of what the ship is going through. Portrays the effect of Blue's reign almost immediately on the population. As soon as he flips over, and as soon as he's in control, everything is immediately much more open-minded. Kouji starts thinking about Fina's booty. The kids get the hang of the vital garter. Captain Conrad goes without orders after the quote-unquote Radico. No one's working, only goofing off. The Ryvius exits the Gadol near Mars. They are promptly ambushed. They try to make contact, but are attacked anyway. Blue shoots and demands that the vital garter be launched. And that's the end of the episode. Particularly, I like Blue as a character, even though he does have a stupid-ass name.
I think his character writing is really consistent. like you just know exactly how he's going to respond to any situation before he responds to it.
Sure.
Like, great character writing, consistent.
You could say that,
through.
yeah, and really you could say that about almost all these people, but even he still grows. Now we're going to start with episode 9 that opens with the boys using and launching the Vital Garter. Turns out the Vital Garter is the main generator and gravity drops to 0 on the ship when it disconnects. Oh god, this is that episode. So there's something that happens in this that we're going to talk about later that is not good, and it's not safe for work. It's one of those things that's just gross, and it's an unfortunate kind of thing about Japan. And this is the episode where we get the gross teenage upskirt times 2. And they try, I think, to like obscure it. I'll show it, but I'm going to put like fucking like blur over it, you know what I'm saying? While everyone yells. The Vital Garter, awesome launch sequence, Naya styles after the attacker is thwarted. Captain Whoever studies the Vital Garter and then attacks again, and that's the captain of the Blue Impulse. I don't believe we ever get his name, but that is the name of the ship.
Yeah.
And again, we're going to get into the tech too, because I think a lot of it's cool. Yuki hijacks the Vital Garter and then disobeys orders. Blue no likey, but ultimately agrees. Naya bails out the kids at the last second again. Yuki then pushes the other ships out of orbit, and then Captain Conrad sees the fight and then moves to intercept. Good old Captain Conrad, who is coming back, quite literally. This whole anime, he's on his way, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm coming. It's the Bradica.
Always in the shadows.
Yeah, he's always just like off to the side, like, oh, I'm coming, the Bradica. You know what I mean? Soon. He's Ahab, and Bradica's his white whale.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
That'd be big, man.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
I think that was on purpose.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. It could be. Either way, it's nicely done, and they play it well like that. So episode 10, right, opens with the bridge flipping because the Vital Garter ship can't be reached via communications. Enemy is charging their lasers. Blue's crew decides to hide the dire situation, thus proving horseshoe theory. Do you know what horseshoe theory is, my friend?
The political one? Yeah.
So explain it for the benefit of the audience, if you would.
Gosh, I don't know how you explain that. It's kind of weird.
I can explain it simply if you'd rather.
Yeah.
Okay, so
go for it.
So basically, horseshoe theory is that when two people on opposite sides of the political spectrum think they're super duper fucking far apart, but they're actually really close together, right?
I can think of some examples.
And that's what I'm saying, and this is one of those examples. Okay, so let's look at this from a governmental standpoint, right? The recently installed government of rebels that overthrew the previous regime, right? They are now doing the very same thing that they overthrew that regime for. Because the only reason that they threw this guy out of power is because they lied about how dire the situation was to everybody. So and then now they turn right the fuck around and do the same exact thing. So I guess what?
Yeah.
Air's blue, you're a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah, a rebel comes to power and then immediately comes like a despot.
Coming back. Coming
back.
Yeah,
I know, lots of stuff are coming back.
That's coming back, man. It's funny you should mention that, huh? So anyway, the ship crosses paths with the Ryvius, and the Vital Garter smashes them out of orbit. Nyx sees Naya, as Yuki says he doesn't care about the others. Luxon gets booted from the bridge after throwing a tantrum and is charged with guarding Pat. Ship freaks out when they find out an attack is coming, then Blue's boys seal the living quarters. Mass driver ring attacks Ryvius. It's really cool. I forget what I can't remember. There's like a whole name for it, but it's awesome. It's like this big ring loop that just gets a projectile sped up really quickly and then just launches it.
So cool.
It is cool. It's up on the screen right now. I would love to have one too. Boy, if we ever get the Elon Musk levels, man, then we can have our own mass drivers in space. Captain Conrad attacks at the same time. The Vital Garter shows up and kind of saves the day. Ikumi then outs Grand for the attempted coup, because on that ship, when they were detached, they thought when the comms were taken away, that they weren't there, and they were that Grand guy is the guy who is his Y, I think, brings up, hey, why don't we just leave the rest of them behind and go fly to these guys and surrender? Who cares about that? We can just go. Yeah. Or something like that. It might not be exactly that, but it's something like that. And that's very big. What just happened right there. Because that's an attempted coup, my friend. And Ikumi is the one who outs that. An interesting person to do something like
Yeah, that's one of the bigger surprises of the anime.
Mm-hmm. Episode 11 starts with a short compilation of the Vital Garter owning and some guy who might be an adult whipping up a frenzy. This isn't an adult. It's Fu Namchai is who this is. And he's Blue's, he's like Blue's cousin. He's Blue's second in command.
I can't picture him right now.
He's the guy that's always, he has the New Jersey accent.
Give a pal a break, please forgive me. We're all friends here, right, huh?
Oh, I've got lots of friends, but I don't know what you are, pal.
There's so many characters. I don't blame you.
He was a minor character, right?
Yeah, kinda. I mean, it's hard to call any of the characters in this minor, though, man.
Yeah, true. I can associate most of the names and faces, but that one is just not appearing.
So,
right now.
I don't think he's not on any of these cases here. These are basically the main group of people that you need to worry about. Blue's cousin, yeah, look it up.
What's his name?
Fu Namchai.
Oh, can you spell that for me?
Fuunamchai.
Wow, what an unmemorable character. Like, yeah, I recognize his face, but dude, yeah, he's definitely like one of the background guys, kind of.
Well, yes, in a way. Not in this episode. The episode starts with him.
Weird.
He's in like a different getup and he's yelling. He's like the master of ceremonies at like a party that they're throwing because they survived the political stuff, right? And he looks like a whole ass adult, bro. Like the first time I saw this, I was like,
oh yeah, I do remember him.
How old is this guy? Who is it? Is this guy an adult? Where's he been hiding? You know what I mean?
It's like the Degrassi actor.
Yeah.
Like, showed up at school.
Sure. I mean, well, yeah, that 35-year-old, 16-year-old right there. Who are you, sir? Yep. So Fu Namchai is whipping up a frenzy about that battle, and Kouji catches Blue crying. Actually, it's one of those like just out of nowhere like uppercuts that they're gonna hit. He's like sitting in a dark room like all by himself, and Kouji walks in, and it's like. All we see is, him in the shadow, and then we see like a tear run down his face, like that, like as Kouji talks to him.
That's so anime.
And then, like as Kouji says something, like immediately he's like, "What do you want?" You know what I mean? Or something like that. Don't tell me what to do. I love him, man. He's great. So, like I said, Kouji catches Blue crying. Kouji proposes a party, and Blue doesn't care. And then he gets a bunch of different people to fill in all the spots to make it happen. So everybody picks up a thing to do, and then they all work together to create, like a fun time for everybody, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting. It's them. It shows that they can work together as a team.
Yeah.
They have experience doing it as well.
Is that somebody horribly singing that too?
I don't. Maybe.
Yeah.
If so, I've blocked it out of my mind. Because some of the music in this is really bad, but then some of the music I really like. Turns out the guys who attempted the coup are being drug along through the Godot in spacesuits. Did you catch that? That Gran and that guy who was his co-conspirator, we get to see Radan, who is Pillow Boy, the guy who always has like a pillow over his balls.
Yeah.
That episode, do you remember that, where they're out on the hull of the Ryvius? And they're like, "Oh, hey, what's going on over here?" And then they kind of like notice it, like out of nowhere, and we only get it on the screen for like a little while. But we see both of them. So to punish them for doing that, they hooked them to the side of the Ryvius and made them stay in spacesuits that were hooked to the side of the Ryvius as they drug them through the Godot in space all by themselves.
This is before they put them in jail, or these are people that went to jail, right?
Yeah, these are the people that go to jail a little bit.
Yeah, no, I actually did not catch that. No, wow.
Yeah, and it's
the kid they space kill hauled them.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. Like they were basically just dragging them along in the water.
Yeah, wow.
In scuba suits, basically.
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
Kids are crazy.
And that's and they don't really they show it and you see it, but it's not something that comes back. Kouji gets everyone to work together, but there's still an undercurrent of paranoia. Fina meets up with Sandy, who asks about her ex. Yuki and Music Girl, we'll call her right now, since she hasn't named herself yet. See Naya dancing like no one's watching. Kouji and Fina finally get together despite Yuki trying to cockblock. The kids find out they are considered terrorists, which is great because that's when they see like that news broadcast and they're like, a bunch of terrorists have hijacked a ship known as the Ryvius. So episode 12 opens with the kids lamenting being called Terrys. Can't really blame them. I wouldn't want to be called a Terry either in that regard.
Yeah.
So back on Earth, everyone moves to make alliances while they plan to capture the Ryvius, and while the plan to capture the Ryvius is detailed. None of the kids know what to do. Ikumi suggests misleading the crew. Big shock. He's like, why don't we just lie to him like everybody else does? So anyway, he suggests misleading the crew. Stein explains propaganda.
Controlling information among the public is a method used to keep confusion down. We would be wise to take whatever steps necessary.
Something a rationalist would say.
Unnamed scientists analyze the Ryvius back on Earth, which is really kind of cool. And I like it because it's kind of a way to recap in a way, but at the same time we're adding to it because we're seeing these scientists talk about its capabilities, what it can do, and those are the rules, brother. And this happens in all narratives, especially horror and science fiction, right, or fantasy. How does this work? We're dumbass people from a different time and dimension. How the fuck do we know how it works? So it's perfect for them to be like, let's get a couple of scientists and we're talking about it, and they'll have the data from the black file, and they'll be able to see, oh, okay. And as the audience, we get a nice little interesting piece, and it sort of in a way makes us a little bit happier and a little less worried that there are a bunch of kids lost on this giant and experimental military spaceship of death.
Yeah, and does keep it mysterious for the majority of the anime. Like, it takes them a long time to actually reveal some of the more specific details of the technology.
That's for sure.
And we're just kind of left in the dark on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, for quite some time, yeah. It's a very dark anime like that in a lot of ways. So like I said, the unnamed scientists analyze the Ryvius. The kids start to hoard supplies and lament leaving Mars orbit. Captain Conrad tells an official the real distress signal is a lie because the hijackers told him the people on board are bad people. So Captain Conrad ends up picking up those hijackers, right? And we find out that they actually didn't die, okay? But that one of them was beaten very nearly to that point, I guess. It's laid out like that. He doesn't really come out and say, he says something like, yeah, one of them's fine, but the other one, and he's like, oof, or something. He says something else, and basically sarcastically says he got fucked up really bad. And it's, they don't, like I said, they're not playing games there, and we get to 100% know that one of them was beaten really, 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 really fucking badly, and then the other one was just beaten up. And it's because, and they don't really gloss over this, they definitely show it. It's not directly expressed in a lot of ways. So the Ryvius has that other ship connected to it, that training ship connected to it, right?
Yeah.
And that's where they left the hijackers, after they beat them up. Yeah. After they tried to hijack the bridge of that training ship, and then Blue and the boys came out of nowhere and, hit them at the right time. Which we'll come back to that scene later, because I have questions. Blue and them, after they did that, they then kept them in that ship and kept them there as prisoners and would come back and beat the shit out of them.
Just for fun.
Yeah, they would. You're right. That's exactly the point. They were just like, they would go back there and beat the shit out of them. They would. They would just to do it. Yeah. And there's even a scene where I think Fu says, hey man, I think maybe you took it a little too hard on that guy this time, or something like that. And Blue's like, he'll be fine, or something. Don't worry about it. Whatever, in his tough guy voice. And Captain Conrad learns about what happened. He knows that they're a bunch of kids, even from that listening to that guy, but he thinks that they're bad and doesn't give a shit anyway, because he's gonna just kill them anyway. That's why I said he knows that signal's fucked up. So we're talking war crimes right here. Episode 12. Straight up. But we're coming back to war crimes too. We're not done with that just yet. So the official tells Conrad that the Gespenst is coming back too, by the way. Kouji's fear makes Fina happy because he has left behind his old society. That's another thing. Another interesting bit of setup there. But the Gespenst, right? We're getting that episode 12, right? We're not going to see that again until maybe episode 23, because I'm pretty sure and I'm spoiling you here because you don't come here for anime to not be spoiled. But the Gespenst is something that's coming back in form, and it's crazy that he just name drops it half the anime ahead of schedule. So that's just again another testament to the writing here, I think, and how well paced and how well set up all this shit really is. Episode 13, which is the halfway mark, opens with the kids practicing with the Vital Garter, basically busting up observation satellites. Food issues start to crop up, and people start getting docked food points for each instance of insubordination. People start to not like that, understandably. Water is also heavily controlled and regulated, and anyone in a Zwei uniform is attacked with the people in power turning a blind eye. And we are literally shown that.
Yeah.
So like I said about the, crazy how the horseshoe theory thing, I guess I'll use this point to bring up Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell has this great quote about basically, nothing has been more common in history than for victims to become oppressors when they get power. Thomas Sowell, baby, economist.
Yeah, it's basically every time.
And that's another thing that's going to happen here basically every time.
Yeah.
The leaders decide that Saturn is the next destination because they are dissidents who also don't like the Orbital Space Bureau. It's named there. Kouji sees Fina with that girl, and Kriff gives Charlie the boot. Kouji and Aoi realize they like each other. Luxon gives food to the traitors. Ikumi promises to protect Kozue, and then they kiss.
Oh no, they kiss.
Yep. Blue is found out by Yuli, who insinuates he wants to hand over the ship to his father. Just then, a ship is spotted, and the episode ends.
A lot of important things there.
Yep.
Less importantly, the whole Kouji and Aoi thing.
Which has been set up from episode 1, but whatever.
Yeah, if you like love triangles, man, that's more than one, I think.
This is, yeah, for sure, between Kouji and Yuki, yeah, because Yuki has a different girlfriend in the beginning before he gets with the other girl later. And it's definitely like that, you're right, that's a good point to, I think, hit on in between the episodes here, is that, this anime, if you've just been following from my Williams notes, I guess, if you will, this anime does a great job of really examining the social landscape, like you were saying before, like just taking a step back and being like, oh, what does she think about this? What do they think about that? Those are relevant things to the plot in this anime, right?
Oh, who likes who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that young
who forgot to put deodorant on today?
Who never wears clothes any day. He wears a goddamn pillow. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he hangs out with a girl all the time, and they're just like cool with it.
I don't know, dude. Whatever with him. Episode 14 opens with combat preparation. The kids witness concerning issues with the new ship. A kid is caught stealing while Kriff tries to get another one, and Charlie pines for her. Kouji asks Fina if she's cool with cheaters.
What's wrong?
Well, I was wondering, just hypothetically, right? How would you react if your boyfriend cheated on you, Fina?
I would never forgive him. I would never forgive you, Kouji.
Me?
After all, now that we're a couple, you're my boyfriend, right?
Oh, is that how it is with us? I guess I never thought of it that way.
Remember what I said?
Right.
Literally says that. So he was trying to tell her, right? Charlie is still simping and can't shoot the gun, which is his job, by the way. He's the guy that pushes the gun buttons on the bridge. Artillery officer.
Yeah.
Fu lets the green-haired girl, who is Michelle, waste a shot. Naya is flipping out over the new ship. The ship attempts to ram, but quote-unquote misses. The kids figure out the ship is on par with the Ryvius. Kouji cracks under the pressure of neurosis. The kids launch the vital garter and fight after Kouji has a dream about Aoi.
Ooh.
Yep. Yeah, he literally, so he gets so fucking, upset by the moment that he, fucking passes out, out of sheer anxiety, out of the neurosis, and has, a wet dream about Yeah, man. And that's what happens, more or less, it seems like, anyway. I hope she'll be young again.
Yeah, oh, young love.
So, the captain of the other ship calls the Ryvius the Black Ryvius, and his ship the Blue Impulse, before launching the vorticular drill.
Yeah.
Ends with Fina calling out Kouji for saying Aoi's name after he passed out.
Ooh, that's always awkward.
Yeah. She literally calls him out for it, and that's the end of the episode. He's like, duh. So he really tried to tell her, right? He was literally like, ooh, I know I like this other girl, so I'm gonna have to tell her. Okay, do you like cheaters? Are you okay with cheaters? Fina? I might. He's basically thinking in the back of his head, well, she's not around me all the time. I wonder what Aoi's gonna be doing later if this bitch gets mad at me. He tried to tell her, though. Like I said, in his credit, I didn't catch it like that the first time, but it literally happens in that order. Episode 15 The battle continues and rages on. Naya experiences pain for the very first time. Opposing captain orders full speed ramming attack. Naya starts losing her mind a bit during the fight. The vital garter gets damaged and the blue impulse backs off after a herd of Vaya show up. The blue impulse captain is big mad that they lost and were then cut off by a Vaya herd and decides to head for Hyperion after guessing that's where the Ryvius is heading. Blue suggests abandoning the Ryvius, which is highly similar to what the other guy did right before him. It's like damn the same exact thing when he's in the lift ship with the vital garter, and that's what he says. He basically says, "Let's leave them behind, and we'll go with my dad, Hyperion." Highly similar to what the other guy did before and what they just put that guy in jail for. So yet again, there's that horseshoe theory. Not so different, these people. Suddenly, right after that happens, Hyperion gets nuked off-screen by the blue impulse.
I'm not gonna tell you again. Forget the Ryvius. Put the vital garter on course for Hyperion.
You tortured your own guy who betrayed us, and now you're doing the same thing. You rotten bastard!
Don't provoke him!
You know that he wouldn't hesitate.
Hyperion coming into range. Proceed as planned.
Estimating maximum damage from field contact.
Do you think I'd willingly abandon the Ryvius? You don't seriously think I'd do that?
It's either the Ryvius or the girl.
But Fu and all the others are on the ship.
Yeah, so what? Playtime is over. We're done with all the games.
Huh? Something's affecting the field warp.
The enemy?
It's from Hyperion!
Huh?
We just don't see it. It just goes from being like a planet to being like a fucking asteroid field next to that other planet.
Like, wow, what a shocking moment to like just be upside the face with.
Right. Yeah, like a whole planet's with people. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Which raised Moon Hyperion.
Well, like our death count was like pretty low so far, and then out of nowhere it went up to like a million.
I don't think you're right about low death count so far.
We killed all the adults at the beginning, but as far as I know.
So that whole control, there's like 50, 60.
But we're talking like that compared to like a whole planet, like
sure,
death count.
But I mean, 50 or 60 or something, that's not a small amount. That's not low. But now we've taken it, but no, to your point basically is that we've taken it not only out of that range, but we've taken it to a different stratosphere of significance of how much we're talking about here. Because that's a whole moon's worth of people. Who knows how many are on there?
Yeah.
You know?
Just considering this is kind of like a shonen or whatever, like you usually don't expect something of that magnitude just going off like that, and then to like do it off screen at the same time.
Well, and
but wow,
and that's a big emotional moment too for Blue actually.
Air's Blue.
Air's Blue?
Yeah, Air's Blue. Yeah, he responds in a kind of weird way, but in a way that he would. And then Blue is upset and also not upset. His home is gone because like he immediately, I don't know, like rationalizes it into his head or something. But then BI turns to the Bradica, as the captain calls it the Bradica there, and starts throwing Hyperion chunks at them. While Stein acts as if he can't hear the lift ship, right? But he's listening in on what they're saying on the lift ship. Ikumi takes charge of the Vital Garter group. Vital Garter picks up the detached cannon and starts blasting, just like Amy DeVito. Naya passed out from the pain. The Vital Garter busts open the vorticular drill and clearly kills the blue impulsive Sphinx, is what they're called. But it's the consciousness-given form of the Vaya that is basically attached to the center of that ship. And we see the Sphinx die. We see its Sphinx literally die right there. The captain loses his shit and retreats. Just then, the ship enacts a mutiny against the supervisors, and Blue's crew evacuate the bridge. Stein more or less admits he helped enact the coup after Fina slaps Kouji. Proving once again that she's willing to go hands-on.
Yeah, you always got to have the classic anime slap in there.
But anyway, so we're well set up now. Everything is well in play.
We know that they really want to kill these children because they're willing to nuke a whole planet to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want some dead kids.
Well, that might be true and that might not be true. We'll get into that. It depends. It depends on how you want to look at it. Episode 16 opens with Blue's betrayal being broadcasted to him and everybody else on the ship, and his crew gets attacked as the spy once were. Stein spins his rational web as Blue's crews get dwarfed. That's what it says. Oh, my notes, okay. Charlie saves Criff and Michelle from getting raped, actually. The lift ship returns, and Blue is arrested. Blue hands his bandana over to Yuki, and then promptly escapes with his fists and his gun. Which is exactly what happens. Like, they try to arrest Blue, and he just beats the out of all of them, and then, like, points his gun at anybody who tries to get close and then runs away. He's such a hard ass.
There's only one single gun on this whole entire ship.
Yeah, which is something that's going to come back into play again, not only in the anime recap, but in our specific thing. Anyway, so Yuki is mad that Kouji beat Blue. Ikumi doubts it was him. Nyx finds Naya passed out. Luxon tries to come back to the bridge, but is kicked out and sent to clean bathrooms, quite literally. Nyx brings Naya to the girls who don't know what to make of her or how to help her. Because they're going over her outfit, and they're like, wow, this is a weird outfit. What are you wearing? And shit, like, so it's at least a little self-aware. This outfit right here, you guys think that's traditional or anything at all? Would you guys wear that? Who knows? Some people out there might wear that. And if you would, more power to you. But, I mean, you know, why would you... 16-year-old space girl in weird space armor? Anyway, speaking of the space girl, Naya wakes up when Kouji comes around. They try to unsuccessfully communicate with her. Naya happens upon Yuli, who is still thinking about how much Blue turns her on. Yuli is informed that she's the captain based on an election. They agree to keep the points and supervisor systems, but do away with the unlimited points. Stein continues to weave his web while being, quote, the man behind the man. Or in this instance, the man behind the woman, and we'll get deeper into that a little later on. But it's something I even wanted to point out here because it's so obvious he is that man behind the man, for sure. Corruption is back already. The new supervisors are shown loafing around while others work. Another guy is fixing his pants and says, quote, I'm finished with her, implying that they are taking advantage of the female prisoners. Criff tends to Charlie's wounds in a cell, while Michelle looks distraught. And okay, there's something that happens, like in that particular sequence of events right there. I kind of glossed over a little bit, but they kind of show it in a scene, and I'm going to talk more about that a little bit later on. But this is another one of those episodes where I think we crossed the line a couple of times. I just wanted to stop right there before I got too far and mention that, because that particular stuff right there, like the government corruption, they go so far to show how easy it is for this shit to happen. Yuli reassigns Kouji to the Vital Garter team. Kouji has a crisis of conscience and doesn't know what to do. Kozue tries to leave, and the other girls start getting mad at her. Blue finds Naya. She narrates his mind's thoughts. Yuki and Kouji fight to end the episode. Classic Ryvius episode right there, man. Episode 17 opens with a shady council recapping the events so far. Blue Impulse Captain is shown in a straitjacket banging his head against the ground. They discuss how these fixes make you bonkers, and they discuss sending another ship. A society in the ship rolls on. New boss, same as old boss. Monitors are immediately shown breaking the rules and abusing authority. Elsewhere, Blue is losing it, overseeing Naya. Blue evades the monitors in a dark section of the ship. So they're showing him have his exit. And having his exit. And laying that down. So it's not just like, well, he just disappeared. No, we got to see where he went. Wherever that dark place is. and that's set up in the first episode, dude. The first time you fucking see him is in that fucking subway. When they pan underneath, and him and the whole group of them are like in the darkness.
It's the place in the ship they don't turn the lights on for some reason.
Sure, and they're immediately drawn to that. Like, as somebody who is a creature of the night, I can kind of be on board with that. Stein encourages Yuli and openly admits his, quote, man behind the man status. He actually literally says, I don't want to be the person, I would rather be the person that helps than the leader. He literally says that. Blue's crew is feeling the pain, except Michelle, who has sugar daddy. The worker girls start punishing the wives of people who are successful, which is also something that's happened in history before. Fina appears to be a growing cult leader. Unknown assailants attack Kouji out of the blue. Yuli misses Blue out of the blue also, but a different way. Howie and Fina have a girl fight.
It's not too serious. A slight concussion and 3 bumps on his head.
I want to thank you for taking care of Kouji like this, Aoi.
I live across the hall.
Is that the only reason?
What do you mean by that?
Don't you have any other feelings for him?
No, No, not me. Gosh, why would I?
What do you find so amusing about that?
A red ship is shown approaching in the darkness. Yuli is losing it over Blue. Random kids see Naya as she narrates Yuki's and Kouji's thoughts. Mid-argument, back and forth. And this is another thing that I think a lot of people missed about this anime, is that a lot of the time when she's like, but that's not what I want to do. I want to survive. I love my brother. He's a douchebag. You know, like all this stupid shit that she would say. All that stuff is her experiencing that, like literally directly in their minds. Which is interesting, and it's a fun way to frame all of this, I think. The enemy approaches as Kozue gets a reality check from Reiko, and that's when she tells her, like, well, you better fucking straighten up, dude. Like, these girls hate you, and you're already a bitch on top of that, so you better calm down. She tells her, she tries to tell her, which is something that's sadly going to come back. The red ship approaches the black Ryvius. It is crewed entirely by women. Ends with Naya staring at a name, or stating a name. I'm not sure, and I didn't go back and look, and this is something that I should have went back and looked at. Maybe I'll put it up here in the editing if I figured it out.
Crimson. Decastia.
Episode 18 opens with the black Ryvius getting caught and the kids freaking out. Big shocker, right? The girl ship is called the Crimson Decastia, and its vital garter is the Icefina. Kozue breaks plates, and the girls no Reiki. The girls no Reiki, the pre-break. The Monitor's greed and corruption is displayed yet again as Mr. Simp, whose name is Johnson Cole, finds out what happens when you lead with your wallet. The Vital Garter is launched. The Black Ryvius fights with the Decastia. People die in Section 192 as a result of the damage. Luxon gets beat up, and Kouji sees Naya, but Blue sees him. While Kouji gets led into the darkness, and he sees Naya, and Naya sort of like distracts him, and then Blue ends up seeing Kouji. So Kouji ends up inadvertently finding him because of Naya, which is something that's important that we'll get back. People die in Section 192, so there's more on to children, and that's straight up children. Yeah, people. Yeah. I call them people, but technically they're underage, and they're still children. Even though Fu Namchai looks like he could beat me in an arm wrestling match, they're supposed to be like 16. They probably are 16-year-olds. They're football players out there. Like there's I forget like DeJuan Jones is like 6'8" and like 300 and something pounds, like 350. Well, he's been good so far. He was good at Ohio State, but imagine like you're playing football and you line up against some guy on the other side, 6'8", 300 and some odd pounds. Wow. It's like he's like 5 inches on you, dude. Plus the girth too, 5 inches taller than you, and the girth. Meat shield is a good way to put it. It's like a meat torpedo. Meat torpedo. Yuki admonishes all the people who do nothing but expect everything, which is a great little monologue. I do like that a lot. And he's right. We need some of that today. Kozue runs her mouth and finds out. Ikumi decides to tear a hole in the gravity surrounding them, which they're caught by captured earlier. I mean, they get caught. And the Crimson Decastia's little capturing method, which is they make a little gravity ball around their guys. So Ikumi decides, hey, all right, we're doing that. We're going to just destroy it. And he decides to make a hole, tearing a hole in the gravity surrounding them. Reiko then abandons Kozue as the girls beat the ever-loving out of her, I think, and they might have gone farther than that, further than the beating. Oh, yeah, I don't know, we'll talk more in depth about that, but this is another one of those really fucked up things that's also really heavy emotionally. This hit so much harder the second time I watched it because I actually understood these characters and was not overwhelmed by trying to keep track of who's that. Who's that? Where she gets beat up like that and Reiko literally abandons her. That's pretty rough. It's a rough thing. The fact that they even went down that route in this anime is some iron balls, I think. So you'd almost never see today, I think. This whole anime.
Man, kitchen work will do that to you.
Yeah, you know what? I've worked in kitchens too, and anybody out there who's been like a cook or whatever, a fry cook, can probably attest.
Yeah, they're probably beating somebody up in a corner.
You was dropping plates, stupid bitch. Michelle escapes captivity using her feminine wiles. We literally see her locking a guy into her restraints and then running out of her jail cell and laughing. Stalker guy, who is Johnson Cole, stun guns the boyfriend of the girl he likes. Naya becomes self-aware as Ikumi punches through. Naya delivers her resolved war cry and pwns the absolute shit out of the Dicastia. Everyone is happy they survived. Yuli steps down and everyone turns on Kouji for disappearing. Aoi finds a bruised up and beaten to death Kozue, who is like ugly crying in the shower, trying to wash off the bruises, like losing her mind. So not only did they build that up, but they built that up really well. Not only did they build that up really well, but they knocked that out of the park, and then they gave you like the immediate aftermath. Like they showed you like exactly how Kozue would react to getting the beat out of her by a bunch of girls. It's something that it really, I think that this might be the best time to talk about one of the concepts in this anime, and that is that everybody's wrong sometimes, man. Everybody's wrong. You out there watching this, you, me, that cat out there who's probably chewing on her feet because I'm not there to stop her from doing it, damn it. She's probably wrong right now. But right now she's
That's
wrong.
always wrong.
I don't know. Sometimes they're pretty graceful. You gotta give them that. So everybody's wrong sometimes, though. Everybody's wrong sometimes. We've already seen that play out a couple of ways. Like Blue's regime, the Zwais were wrong some way. Yeah. Everybody's been wrong some way, somehow, right? So responsibility, it really is like a key theme here. Like what you're responsible for. How do you deal with your responsibilities? How do you see your responsibilities sometimes even? Which is a cool, like I said, this is a fun time to do that because we get to see all of that happen, right? Like as Kozue literally ugly cries in the shower being beaten up, we get to literally see she didn't take her responsibility of carrying her weight seriously enough with those other girls, and she's one of the haves, right? Who has a boyfriend who has unlimited points and can just do whatever the fuck she wants. So not only do they see her as a lazy bitch who's already living high on the hog, as they say, but also this bitch sucks and is clumsy and is like a fucking detractor. And then she starts like arguing with them, like I said, where she mouths off at them. Yeah. And then Reiko has to like stop them from beating her ass that one time. Everybody's wrong sometimes, dude, and you should listen to people sometimes when they say, hey, I think that group of people might want to beat you up if you keep talking to them. You should probably just do what you need to do and shut the fuck up. It's almost worse because you understand where the other characters are coming from, right? I mean...
Yeah, like, I would ban her, too.
I don't know if I'd have laid hands on the bitch. I'd definitely been like... I would have definitely said to the manager, like, yo, why... Do we need pulses in here that bad? Do you need motherfuckers who are just breathing in here that bad? And sometimes working in kitchens, it's like that. There's like high turnover in that field.
Yeah,
as you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like with Reiko, like you can understand her decision to like kind of just have to let it happen. Because
right.
I mean, she tried.
She did, and that's what I mean. Like not only the girl, you're right. That's a great point actually that you brought that up because Reiko, you even understand why she runs away crying like that. You know it has to hurt to do that, but she knows even then. It's like, bitch, remember the last time I told you, if I stand up with you, they're beating my ass too. So again, everybody's wrong sometimes, and respond like, did she take her responsibility of carrying enough weight seriously enough? No. And because of all the other factors involved and the personalities involved in the situation involved, they were just like, we're whooping this bitch's ass.
We're gonna make some bitch lasagna.
Yeah, and boy did they ever. They made a big old case of it, and then it cooked in the shower afterward as she cried. Episode 19 opens with Ikumi beating everyone's ass over Kozue's assault. Yuli takes the heat for the deaths, and then Yuli quits. Ikumi confronts Reiko over Kozue. Ikumi confronts Kouji, who then mans up right along with Ikumi. Michelle and the rest break out as Criff and Charlie get back together.
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
Michelle disowns Criff and Blue. Aoi and Kozue have the most awkward friend breakup ever, okay? And I kind of want to talk about this for a second. This is another one of those, like, absolutely painful moments, like, emotionally, for these characters, like, just to imagine, like, Aoi specifically. And I want to paint this picture because Aoi specifically, like, right at this point, this is, like, right when all of her roommates, like, sort of just disappeared. And it's, like, that's all that ever happens to her is people really kind of just leave, you know what I mean? And they all sort of just disappear. So, like, that one of the reasons why that was so hard for her is because Kozue was, like, her last good friend like that. And to have her move out and move in with Ikumi and the big boss's captain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
suddenly she was gone, and then this happened where Kozue just really has this like really harsh ass like bunch of shit to say, which isn't necessarily wrong either, but Kozue was really kind of a sheltered little child and really kind of needed to be, I think, broken out of some of that, but not in the with fists and broomstick handle kind of way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what those bitches did, but oof. But anyway, so it is the most awkward friend breakup ever. Yuli attacks Luxon and Pat with girl rage, yeah, that's what it said. Then we go straight to Blue takes food from Kouji. Blue forces Kouji to take his gun. Kouji gets attacked and the monitor runs away. So this is another in the string of Kouji getting beat up because he is a have as well.
Man, he gets beat up a lot.
He really does, by his brother and a bunch of other people.
Especially his brother.
Speaking of his brother, Yuki saves him while lecturing him. Kouji and Cullen, who is Music Girl from before, who's the blonde girl with who's always talking about music with the headphones in and stuff.
Yeah.
That's Cullen have a good talk. Ikumi is triggered by Kozue's new hair. So Kozue goes from having her hair in pigtails, right, to now after this harsh traumatic event, she's changed as a character, so she's going to change her hairstyle too. Her hair is like down. And as soon as Ikumi sees it, he has that PTSD flashback thing where he is immediately like, oh, shit, you look just like somebody I used to know. And then so I think this is really kind of when a certain mania might really kind of be setting itself into place for him specifically. Kouji learns about the man in the glass, and then has a full conversation with Naya, who reveals her name to him and us for the very first time. Episode ends with a montage of how bad things are for everybody, including Kouji right now. So just in case you thought, we were all out of the woods. But so the man in the glass, right? Have I ever talked to this poem to you before about the man in the glass? So when Kouji is literally having this talk with himself, I'm going to pull it up just so I do it justice. When you get what you want in your struggle for self and the world makes you king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't a man's father, mother, or wife whose judgment upon him must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in life is the man staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end. And you've passed your most dangerous, difficult test, if the man in the glass is your friend. You can fool the whole world down the pathway of years, and get pats on the back as you pass, but the final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass.
Nice.
And that's exactly what Kouji is figuring out right there, because he's literally looking at himself in the face thinking, like, what the f*** do I want? You know what I mean? Like, Blue gave me this gun. Why? He has no idea what to do, and, he's all kind of f***ed up over the whole situation and everything anyway, but that's what I'm saying. This is one of those moments where this is him, going through it, right? This is his art. But anyway, I felt it necessary to bring that poem in, and I do say felt reasonably because I love that poem. And it's something that I think is essential, is a central theme at the core of Koji's character development, because at the end he truly does care enough about himself to actually want to do things for himself, because he's really just kind of a go along to get along kind of guy. Episode 20 opens with Ikumi whooping a criminal's ass, which is just a common theme. Ikumi beats the shit out of so many people. Kouji wakes up with Aoi, Fatty, and Nyx, and that's Akihiro, the fat guy that's with Nyx. Aoi shows us who she really likes, and then we get her backstory, and that she followed him and Kouji to Leva Delta. Aoi remembers everything, including when she and Kouji made the Wumbo, which happened a couple of episodes before that. I saved it later because I wanted to talk about it, but they made the Wumbo. Pat is attacked by ruffians, and Luxon steps in to save him. Cullen breaks up with Yuki, except he breaks up with her first. Kouji pours over his memories, and Fina comes back. Yeah, that's always the pimp move. She gets mad that Aoi made his lunch. So Fina's all pissed off that Aoi made kind of anything for Kouji, which women do get really territorial about that. Like, tell your wife that some other bitch made lunch for you. I want you to be like, where does she live? You know what I mean? Speaking of that, Fina recounts her past with Kouji. Then Fina tries to force him to love her. Kouji says he can't. Ikumi takes command. Yuki details the start of the fight they had as Kouji and Yuki fight once more. Ikumi has a heart-to-heart and wishes things could be like when Blue led. He literally says that. It was a lot better when Blue and them were in charge or something like that.
Yeah.
Kouji realizes he needs to face the past as Fina throws herself at him and then gets rejected.
God would love to see it.
Dude, no, and she tries to kiss him, and he's just like, no. Just pushes her away awkwardly. So the ship is attacked, right? And gets rejected. The ship is then attacked as Fina basically says, no, we aren't breaking up. But she didn't really say it like that, but that's essentially what she meant by saying she will reawaken Kouji. Ikumi takes the vital garter and threatens everyone into submission, right? Home stretch here, boys. Episode 21. Everyone hates it, including Naya. Kozue likes it. Yuki joins Ikumi, and this is Ikumi taking control. Yuli, Fina, and Michelle all react to Ikumi. Ikumi says he's only doing what Blue did, so Stein suggests making an example by attacking the Black Ryvius. Aoi runs around crying as Ikumi hits the ship, and Stein elates. It's one of the only times that we actually see him have an emotional reaction, which means he's truly, most likely sadistic and Machiavellian, my friend. We'll come back to that later. Kouji and Naya aren't feeling the Ikumi regime. 1 month later, things are better but worse. New regime leaves a silent fear hovering above everyone. Stein quote-unquote suggested isolating people to avoid contact, collecting data to try to prevent crime. The Guardians are formed from former dissidents. Fina suggests that the Black Ryvius heads to Titania. Kouji and Blue talk about what to do. Blue, unsurprisingly, tells Kouji to start shooting. Ikumi wants Stein to reduce all crime to 0. Big time thing right there. Fina suggests moving in with Kouji so he can see Ikumi. Kouji says nah, and Fina gets big mad because Kouji says he doesn't want to leave Aoi alone. This is another thing where I'm not sure. I'm really not like the sounds of what happened. It's off camera, so we don't really get to see what happens. But this is when Aoi gets attacked when she's all by herself in her room. She lives on the wrong side of tracks for sure. That bitch is literally living under the bridge. But she gets attacked by that lady. That lady just sneaks in and attacks her, right? And I have it as Aoi gets SA'd, and she might, like I said, it doesn't sound like she's just getting beaten. It sounds like something very bad is happening to her. It
could just be awkward English dubs because how loud is it in the 90s?
Okay, cool.
Maybe. Where they make weird sounds and inappropriate times. It doesn't make any sense.
Sure, okay, but Kouji saves her, and Aoi cracks under the pressure of her reality, which is also another hard thing to watch because, at least in terms of the emotional price that you have to pay if you're really trying to relate to Aoi as a character, it's tough. It's because that's when she explains, that's when she becomes the Weeby right there, and you immediately, you can't help but feel sorry for her, you know what I'm saying? So Kouji then tells her to get a hold of it, man, and accept reality as they both cry and then have therapy sex as Naya watches, by the way. It's literally shown, man. I'm gonna put the clips up here with the receipts, as I always do.
Delete this.
So I'm just saying, these are teenagers. At least they're both the same age, but all the covers are off. Again, we've crossed the Rubicon there. We're well beyond the point of no return.
The anime Rubicon.
Episode 22, my friend. Naya narrates Kouji's feelings. Naya then recounts her experience as she flies through everyone's feelings, basically. It's hard to explain. As a man, I don't want to be anywhere near that. But still, that's basically what she does. And it's kind of a fun way that they recap this. And they've been doing that, right? A lot of these flashbacks, having that council talk about what's happening, showing those scientists scientifically break down the ship, the court-martial that happens for Conrad before they send him back out after the Ryvius, that kind of stuff. Those are fun ways to recap things that also somewhat are this changes everything kind of moment. If not, it at least adds a little extra flavor, which is great. So it kind of really makes really good use of that in some instances. She notices that the only feeling they all agree on, right, is literally, I don't want to die. Okay, very important for our discussion. She recounts the various combat scenarios and what she's learned. So this is totally like a compilation at the beginning here. Naya ends this long sequence with walking up to Kouji and asking him what he wants to do.
Ooh, I'm getting even going on vibes now.
Yeah, seeing him as the captain of the ship. Anyway, a neutrino blast blacks out Earth's comms. Vice Minister Shimamura gets mad at evil corpo guy, who I believe is Berkovich, and demands that the kids be rescued. But Berkovich guy says that they can't rescue the kids because this will be the false flag that allows humanity to survive the Gadult, because it will make people want via ships even more despite driving pilots. It literally says that. So he doesn't give a shit, and that's a big motivator. During our watch through of this, it's something that I missed because I couldn't understand, like, okay, you kill an entire station's worth of people, and your goal is to hijack this ship with 2 people and do fucking what with it? And the idea was to just kill those people, right? And that was it. And then just have that be like a false flag that made people want these Via ships, because that Black Ryvius would have been the only ship that actually survived it. So it's weird. It's kind of a silly plan. He says the Supreme Council of the Solar System Alliances, which is another whole ass body, I guess, has approved his plan to let them die. The Guardians save Luxem from a beating by visiting evil upon evil. Captain Conrad and some guys talking to his dog take turns explaining the plan for humanity. And it really is, it's this guy just sort of talking to his dog out in the middle of nowhere. And I think it's Shimamura. I think it's him, and he's sort of like recapping things, right? So this is sort of a fun recap episode. They really tried, instead of your shameless fucking Gurren Lagann recap episode where it's literally just like clips, not even edited, other than just like here edited for time.
Not even a narrator?
No, there's a narrator. I forget, Yuki, I think is her name. I forget, something like that. The bitch with the big titties and the gun and the rifle. The boobs and the rifle, that girl. Whoever she is, she's on the screen right now. I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I remember the important things. Captain Conrad and some guy talking to his dog take turns explaining the plan for humanity. The Via ships, the Sphinxes, they explain the military's perspective completely. And that's another one where it's like I said, it's this interplay where you can see Captain Conrad is like getting suited up and explaining something to like some dumbass like second in command officer who doesn't know what's happening, and then some other guy's having a fun chat to himself in the park where he walks his dog, and it's a weird juxtaposition between the two things. You know what I mean? We get to see Conrad taking his loss and what happened to him. He coughs up blood as he remembers the incident involving, quote, the Bradica, which killed his daughter, finally explaining why he kept calling the Black Ryvius by that name. Kouji's got a gun to end the episode. So we're on episode 23 now, but let's stop right there and talk about that for a second. So that's something that they sort of foreshadow right there, but that's why he calls it the Bradica. That's why they all call it the Bradica, and it's because in that episode he remembers that he was the captain of Bradica when all that happened. He's the guy who captained that ship the first time they tried to launch it. So, and it's never really, from what I remember, quite exactly explained if it was just a prototype at that point or if it was the same exact ship. But it wasn't called the Black Ryvius at that point. It was called the Bradica. It was its code name. And that's the only thing he's ever known it by. So that's why everybody else is calling this ship one thing, but he's calling it the Bradica.
He says it a lot too.
He really does.
Bradica.
But some of those other people say it's his white whale, right? Episode 23 opens with the Vital Garter fighting a previously unseen ship. Ikumi uses this to promise he's going to protect them and that they only have to continue to peacefully coexist until they get to Titania. Fina thinks Ikumi is a god or something. Kouji is catching feelings. Ikumi and Yuki kick Yuli out of the power group because she doesn't want to further tighten the leash. Stein is given control of the systems of power and immediately lowers the class of everyone he doesn't like. His changes cause someone to hit him and everyone is quote-unquote reassigned. The purple-haired girl shows us that she has weird feelings for Pat. Oh, that's Rand. Her name is Rand. She's the girl that it looks a lot like Aoi, but is a part of his Vice. She has the same haircut.
Yeah.
That's Ran, the girl that has that weird, creepy obsession with Pat, which, by the way, what the fuck, Japan? She's literally, I mean, she's literally in love with him. Like, and they don't make any bones about it. Like, you can go look up she's literally in love with Pat. In love with him. Oh, that lady.
Yeah.
Anyway.
See, some of that stuff with the kid was kind of weird, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about it a little bit. That's for damn sure. So Stein then locks all of the undesirables into their new space and shuts the lights off. Okay. Luxon feeds everyone, and Kouji looks for a way out and finds Naya. Naya helps him find a way. He conveniently ends up right in front of Ikumi, Yuki, and Stein in the hallway to the bridge. So, okay, that's something that kind of fucks with me. Like, he goes from, like, one vent in, like, one section of the ship to, like, the bridge, which has to be in another part of the ship. I guess for the sake of argument, maybe you could say Occam's Razor, it is right next to the ship. Or it is right next to the bridge. You know what I mean? Maybe it really is that close, like just in the way that it's designed. But boy, how convenient is that, huh?
Yeah.
You figure that's a ways away, wouldn't you? You know? So Kouji confronts them. Pat has a birthday party. Kouji admits he and Fina are done and that he's getting it in without leaving. Fina hears this and does not like it. Yuki and Kouji fight, and then Kouji pulls out the gun as Aoi screams. Yuki disarms Kouji, who turns the gun on Kouji and shoots him. One of Fina's quote-unquote friends attacked Aoi for Fina, it is revealed, and Fina delights in his pain as she attempts to strangle him after Ikumi and Yuki leave.
Big scene.
Finally, Fina is revealed to have strangled 2 other people who knew she wasn't without sin, as Naya stops her from killing Kouji. I think the only reason that Kouji is not dead is because that stupid bitch thought that Naya's a god. Naya's a god. That's it.
That's funny. Yeah, she's the right character for that.
Yeah, and that's why I said that's why it makes sense. It makes so much sense and that's why she cries when she sees him like that. But you're right. That is a huge scene because we're led to believe. There's another scene that I sort of glossed over talking about, but there's another one of her friends that comes back to visit her, who knows about her boyfriend, who I was talking about earlier that he referenced as I referenced that one scene where he came to visit her. And I also said we know that Fina is somebody who will get hands-on, which is a reference to her strangling people. So that's another thing. She definitely is revealed to be an absolute psycho bitch. For sure. I think she's definitely the psycho.
Yeah, he's like actively dating this girl and she's still like is obsessed with him anyways.
Well, it turns out Kouji made the wrong decision. Wouldn't you say? The original first time, so it was probably a better move to break up with her. He probably should have done it sooner.
He should have stayed with Fina forever, and then they should have taken over the ship, and they would have been like the rulers and stuff.
And then like Kouji finds out later on that she's killing people.
Dude, I honestly thought that she was going to end up taking control of the ship at some point, just with the way she was going down the cult leader thing. Like they could have like went down that route and like got a really big cult following.
Sure.
And just taking shit over and turning into a theocracy.
Yeah. Well, that would have. Yeah, I guess you're right, because the religion rules the society there.
I kind of thought that was going to happen, but I was wrong. That was also like a really disappointing scene because like he has the gun and you're like, oh wow, we're going to finally see some action with this gun, right? And he pulls it out instantly just hard. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
all that build up for that.
Right, but it makes sense though, and I would hate it if it didn't make sense because Yuki's the one who whoops it out of his hands like instantly.
Yeah, I thought Kouji was actually going to shoot somebody.
Same, but that's another heavy emotional moment. That's a big confrontation that they built up to, like you said, all that build up. So you had to earn it, and when you finally got there, they didn't give you a damn thing. Episode 24 opens with Aoi finding Kouji as the kids detect a massive Vaya. They witness many more Vaya evidently eating up the Godol. Captain Conrad and crew sight the Black Ryvius as Naya and the GGs. And the Greg Gespenst Sphinx, I should say, sight each other. They actually have that moment where they see each other in psychic space, I guess, through their feelings, whatever the Anyway, Fina is having trouble dealing with running from Naya. Yuki is having trouble after seeing Kouji get shot, and Charlie and Criff attempt to heal Kouji. Ikumi talks Kozue into joining him on board the lift ship. A bunch of people sneak Kouji into a real medical facility. A new ship attacks as the Guardians figure out the others snuck in. Criff fixes Kouji. The Vaya start to attack the new, now named, Gray Gespenst, which is, what was it? It was name dropped a couple of, about 10 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Captain Conrad, no care. Is what it says. The Gray Gespenst absorbs the Vaya. He doesn't care that they're attacking him. And the Black Ryvius says, quote unquote, I'm good, and heads for regular space. And they just piece the people start rioting inside the ship, and Ikumi orders everyone to the lift ship. The Gray Gespenst attacks and forces everyone onto the lift ship very conveniently. Some people get left on the Black Ryvius. Luxon and Yuli take over the old bridge. The Vital Guarders attack each other. The Gray Gespenst and the Black Ryvius' Vital Guarder attack each other. And right when that happens, Captain Conrad sees Naya and is reminded of
oh no,
his daughter, who is somebody who died during the original, and they show her face the first time too. They kind of show her in the darkness as he's like remembering it the first time. So B.S. this attention right there too.
Nice.
And which gives the Black Ryvius' Vital Guarder a shot. Just then, the Black Ryvius is boarded by all kinds of troops. Kouji calls the bridge and asks to be let off the ship so he can send a message. Episode 25 opens with an outside force recapping readings from the battle between the Black Ryvius and the Gray Gespenst. The ship is boarded, the battle rages on, the soldiers find nothing but kids, and Michelle tries to bribe one of the soldiers with sexual favor.
Wendy is still taking over the electrical system. Proceed to the bridge.
Roger that.
Please help me. I'll do anything. Anything. Oh no! Someone, I need help! Blue, help me!
She literally says, I'll do anything. No, I'm not reading too far into that for reasons we are definitely going to get into. Yuli launches injured Kouji. Naya corrects the course and brings Kouji toward the lift ship. After the Gray Gespenst Vital Guarder is strengthened by pulling in all of those other vials like it does, which is a very cool looking machine. I don't know what to make of it. It looks like a moth, kinda. Blue stops a soldier from hitting Yuli and Luxon. All the boys join Blue in a fight, and Luxon grows a pair of balls on screen.
You know why I'm not afraid of anything anymore? Because I've got nothing to lose!
Which is his growth. That's his arc. We literally get to see him grow and become a better character, right?
It only took the whole anime.
Oh yeah, some of that is just Kouji too. So speaking of which, Kouji recounts his mistakes and explains why he knows better because of them now. Kouji makes it into the lift ship just before the Gray Gespenst Vital Guarder launches a big attack very conveniently. After a direct hit, we reach our all is lost moment when everyone is having a bad time. Both Vital Guarders break free and smash into each other. Kouji locks Aoi up. Captain Conrad demands they smash into the Black Ryvius, but is stopped by Naya, who tells him to stop. Ikumi shoots another dissenter. Kouji confronts him as we interplay between the confrontation and Captain Conrad realizing Naya is a copy of his dead daughter. He admits the whole ship is run by children, changes the orders to rescue, and then promptly shoots himself straight in the middle. Which is pretty goddamn crazy. Another heavy emotional moment, one that makes a lot of sense compared to the situation. And it's interesting. Very, very ballsy on this show. Speaking of growing a pair of balls. Naya leads Aoi out. Kouji begs Ikumi and everyone to surrender. Kouji finally alerts the others that Stein has been carelessly efficient and left people behind. Ikumi almost kills Kouji, but Aoi stops him after Kouji sets everyone straight. That's really kind of where he stands up and gives everybody the, hey, you need to do this and you need to do that.
Yeah, I remember that standoff.
So Yuki physically stops Ikumi just before the soldiers rush in and save the day and save him from getting shot in the head by crazy ass Ikumi. So we find out Ikumi was upset that he lost his sister because she committed. And I mean, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm gonna bleep that out because she decided to, drink some bleach and do some very bad things. She tried, which she should never do. And by the way, if you have a problem, call the hotlines and all those fun things. It's better to talk to somebody than actually do it. Remember that. So Ikumi finds out. Ikumi, we are revealed for the first time that Ikumi is upset because his sister herself, because they got caught having an incestuous relationship with one another. So that's a big bomb to drop on you, right? Like out of nowhere.
This is the climax of it.
But I swear to God, it makes sense. The very beginning of that first episode. Who are the three people that go try to save people?
In the first episode?
Yeah.
They're trying. They're in the dark. They're in a dark place, aren't they?
No, it's when kind of. It's when the ship is going way below whatever shear they expect it to be at.
Okay.
So it's Ikumi, Kouji, and Yuki. Those three people are the people that go try to save everybody else and try to get the people out of the bridge and onto that ship. Like I said, it's just an interesting thing to point out because I think that right there he says something like, but how can you just let somebody die or something like that, or people dying is a terrible thing or something like that.
Well, I guess I was wrong about you, Kouji. What do you mean? I figured you for the type who wouldn't do this sort of thing.
We're saving lives! We were taught to give that top priority in emergencies.
So, just following regulations?
What's your reason?
It's a terrible thing for people to die.
Like, and it's such a duh, just so, no kind of like boilerplate kind of statement, you know what I mean? But it makes sense because he's talking from experience, bro. He knows that death is a terrible thing to happen to somebody. I mean, you don't notice it when Kozue lets her hair down, but that rainbow bitch that he saw out in space after he saw her is totally like his sister or how she looked at him. So, Ikumi has some psychological problems, I would say.
Yeah, West Virginia noises start playing.
Oof. The infinite rap, West Virginia. Anyway, so with that said, and the way I have it written in here is Ikumi was upset that he lost his Wincest sister. Actually, Elcest, I guess, because she kicks over. Anyway, we get a compilation of shots with a TV broadcast exposition dump of the event to end the episode. The authorities arrest Berkovich, who was the architect behind the initial hijacking. Episode 26, final one here, boys. This is it. So episode starts with the same animation as the first episode. A day in the life compilation all over again. Right. Aoi meets Kouji once more, and they have some witty banter back and forth between one another. Kouji meets some fans of his brother. Kouji then walks around thinking in his head about how things have changed as he sees various people from the ship. Luxon wrote a book. Akihiro, the fat guy, wrote Kouji a letter thanking him for giving him courage. He also says that he and Nyx are good. So Aoi and Kouji go on their first date, and then the Solar System Interplanetary Alliance, now the fourth body, approaches the Aiba brothers to reboard the Black Ryvius. He says the Gadult will destroy the solar system, and that they need the Black Ryvius because they need Vaya to survive long term. Kouji slugs him in the fucking face, literally punches him in the face, and calls out his blood. Kouji and Aoi show us some foreplay, as Kouji remembers some other people from the ship. He says he's gonna do it and wishes his brother good sleep. We see Charlie and Criff, who have lost weight and gained clothing, respectfully. Various other characters discuss their motivations as they all meet up on the ship. Naya welcomes them back by talking to Kouji and Aoi. Ikumi spills the beans about why he did his business. Everyone names Luxon as the ship's captain. A nice turn of events. Kouji, suggests that they take the ship to Titania to talk with Fina. We end with a compilation of everyone meeting up, including Aoi and Kozue, as the ship takes off. Ends with a quote, and then one day, sometime, as we see the Black Ryvius literally eat up some Gadult. And then there's your credits. And man, so that's a 10-hour anime. So that's going to do it for the recap. Now we're going to join all of the people who skipped ahead. This is going to be the in-depth review section. That's what I like to call it when I write these down. These are sort of just little points that I wanted to make Zach is going ahead and looking at the test before we've been giving it to him yet.
Oh no, I actually just kind of like did the eyes of the see-through zone out kind of thing. So I didn't read anything. I just
you blacked out like Shinji blacked out.
I was there. Just my eyes just kind of started wandering.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, so like I said, this is I like to call these in-depth reviews. So these are like little topics and things that I think are interesting, things that we're going to talk about further depth. So the first thing that I think we owe it not only to the people watching, but to anybody else who like wants to come at this from like an analytical perspective and really get our analysis on this. First thing we owe to do, basically just acknowledge is number one. You see what that says?
So many characters, yeah.
So many characters is what that says. There are points after each one of those words, right? There's a bit of promotional material, right? And you guys can't quite see it.
They're all there.
It's along the side of this box here, right? And I tried to count this. And along the side of this box, there's something like 24 characters, right?
Is that one guy's brother on there, the red bandana guy?
Yeah.
He's
right
actually in there? Yeah. I don't know, I guess he just wasn't a very memorable character for me.
Namchai? Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll try to name all these people. So I think that's the girl, I don't know what her name is, but that's the girl that Yuki dates the first time, right? These guys are randoms wise, I'm never going to remember what the fuck their name is.
Random with wise.
That's Carbona, and that guy's Kevin Green. I remember them because they are the guys, that's the group of spies that actually end up together. I'm going through, by the way, for the audience, and showing them what we're talking about in visual format because of editing tricks. That little kid down there is next. That's Fat Boy Yakihiro. Wait, where is it? I got the notes, damn it. Akihiro Miyabi. And then that, of course, is Stein.
Yeah.
That's Rand, the woman with a child, really a predilection, which shame on her.
A child is no help to us in our operations. I believe I made the proper decision.
It doesn't make sense to rank a child.
This is
proper care.
straight fascism.
And since Ikumi put me in charge, I say this discussion is now over. Why should his situation bother you? Do you have special feelings for him?
Maybe.
This is, I forget what the her name is. Anyway, it's not important because she's like that. I think that's Reiko, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure exactly who that is, who they're animating right there. That's clearly Aoi. I can hear her saying Kouji in that picture. That's obviously Yuki. That's obviously Kouji. That's Ikumi. That's Kozue. That's Fina. That's Yuli. That's Pat. That's Cullen. That's Luxon. I don't know who this guy is. And that's Kriff, obviously.
That's the Inuyasha guy, isn't it?
I'm not sure, dude. I don't. Some of these characters I don't know, but that's Kriff. That's Michelle. That's obviously Air's Blue.
Air's Blue, born on Hyperion, a self-governing moon of Saturn.
Because you have to say it like that. That's Fu Namchai. That's Charlie, aka Good Turtle Land the Third. This is the cult girl that attacks Fina, I do believe. And I'm really not sure who those guys in the back are right there. I'm really not sure. Do you know? Okay, I think that guy. That's
a naked guy.
Yeah, pillow boy. Yeah. We both noticed the hairstyle at the same time. I think, and that must be his follower because he has a guy that follows him. But who's that bitch behind him? I don't know. Future William will figure this out in the editing.
No, that's the Inuyasha guy. That's the guy that's voiced by the guy who does Inuyasha, Richard Cox.
And I can't remember who. So.
Because he gets in trouble, right, and then he gets like disappeared. Because I was excited to see it was him.
Is he Gran? Is he the guy that's Gran McDaniel? I think he's his vibe because they're the ones that get full-on names, and there's a reason behind that. But anyway, so yeah, there's 34 characters on this box, dude, on the box, right? And with that said, you know, it makes this anime extremely interesting from that point, right? But I think one of the craziest things about this is how far into detail they went. And I'm going to give you all of the characters who have names in this, okay? So I'm not talking about has a big impact on the plot, does something extravagant, is cool. None of that. Just you have a name. You were given a name. Okay, that's the barrier for entry, right? Okay, that's the standard here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna obviously start with Kouji Aiba. We got Yuki Aiba, Aoi Hosen, Ikumi Oze, Kozue Izumi, Cullen Luchiora, Fina S. Shinozaki, Neya, Air's Blue. Sorry I said it wrong. Fu Namchai, Kriff K, Michelle K, Yuli Bahana, Luxon Hojo, Stein Hygar, Charlie, quote-unquote, Good Turtle and Third, Carbona Guinea, Ran Luckmold, that's who that other girl was that we couldn't figure out with the short hair of Ran, Pat Campbell, Brian Babb Jr., who is one of the Zwei, Kevin Green, who's the fat Zwei, Heinz Crawford is one of the other Zwei, Chick Krat, I think he's the other Zwei, and then Christ Morardi is another Zwei, and then Graham McDaniel is the one that tries to betray them all. He's the guy that they send to the lift ship. And then Riko Ichikawa, Nix Chiaplaplat, or however the fuck you say it, if I'm saying it right, whatever. F you, tell me in the comments, I don't care. Akihiro Miyabi, Kiburi Kiki, Johnson Cole, Ladant, Sarah and Shinji, and now these are people who I saw in the credits, just beyond this, okay? Elena Rigby, who I don't know who that is. Rally, Ryu Gill, Conrad Viscus, we definitely know who he is. He's the captain. He's the mad Captain Conrad. Berkovich, okay, he's in it. And then Shimomura, and sadly, last but certainly not least, the very heroic and manly Instructor Handler, that's that. So that's all the characters in this, dude. That whole fucking thing. They went that far and named all of these characters.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking about, yeah, that's Jeff, that's Bob, that's... No, that's Jeff Smith, that's Bob, Jones, the 35th, I think that not only is the size of characters a strength for this, but it's also a very big weakness for this too. Because this is almost like an anime that you really have to invest in. You really gotta pay attention. It rewards you very, very much so for what it does, because the plot treats its characters very, very well and very intelligently. And for those of you out there who might be wondering what I'm talking about, I don't mean like the plot buys them, sugar candies and little bows and little toys and things. Like, no, I mean that it actually makes sure that their motivations all make sense. It's all well set up. They're all intermingled and interwoven in a nice web of interactions. And they all hold true to their personality. This man said it way back then when we were talking about what, the recap. You said that Air's Blue is very always consistent with his personality like that, but even he learns at the end about all kinds of crazy shit. He learns what it's like to be the guy who's the hunted, right? And he realizes, okay, maybe I fucked up a little bit. So that's what I mean. On some level, though, but if you don't pay attention to that, that can be overwhelming to, just a normie or somebody off the rip, right? Just any old regular person who has nothing to do, who doesn't know what Infinite Ryvius is about. You're gonna be like, wow, that's a lot of characters. Holy fucking shit. And like I said, it's both very impressive and it also sort of detracts like that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's hard to say whether it's a strength or a weakness, because it's definitely a problem that there's too many characters. For this many characters, I think you need more than 26 episodes. I think you should be closer to 32 or even possibly just 2 full seasons with this many characters.
Yeah.
There are 56 episode animes that have less characters than this. And most 24, 26 episode animes usually only cover about maybe 8 characters or so.
Sure.
Like, this is just a random, spitball right here. But, anyways, it's a lot less than this.
Sure, definitely. That actually get treated like that.
So I could see this could be a point of contention. I'd like to debate on this, whether or not it's more of a strength or more of a weakness. So...
Like I said, it's an interesting thing, and it's something that I thought, because that was like the big barrier for entry for me in the beginning. I was like, God damn, who is that? Now why don't who? And as an American, it's not something that we often get in our media. It's very protracted, intricate, complex, and it has a whole vast array of bells and whistles. This social structure in this, it really does. It's very well set up. So I got to give them credit. They make you pay attention to the characters, but they at least reward you for it. And if you're willing to even give this the work that it deserves and really try to, empathize with these characters, which I don't think you have to try too hard. There's not really. I think they do a good job of making pretty much every one of these characters at one point in time or another relatable on some level, which is amazing. With 34 and all those characters and this bullshit, they did that with it.
Except maybe Fina. I don't know. Can I relate to Fina?
Okay. Well, but see, that's the thing.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, you're both religious, not quite like her level of religious, like I'm going to kill you to end my terrible past because God can't know. Not quite like that, but yeah.
That's what the chicken is for. It does a good job. They managed to get all those characters in only 26 episodes, so that's pretty good. That's probably why they sacrifice so much exposition, and they just kind of cram the exposition in to certain spots of the anime because they need all this space to get all these characters fleshed out.
Maybe.
But they just kind of have to, they kind of set the tentacle stuff aside and just kind of cram it, in between bits.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. Like I said, I think it's really great. I think what they do with it is fun.
Hello, fine anime enthusiasts. Future William here. Wanted to correct the record on all of the characters and also address something that past William is going to be wrong about in the near future when he mistakenly claims that Sandy and Elena Rigby, aka Yuki's first girlfriend, are the same person. As you can see here, they have different hairstyles, different hair colors, and different outfits, which in anime terms means they may as well be from different planets, and in this particular anime, they very well might be. Adding on to that, as you can see here, Sandy didn't make it to the end like Elena Rigby did because Fina had Sandy in a stranglehold like Ted Nugent. That's a boomer-ass reference, I know, but come on, it's appropriate, baby. Based on a few good days of research, there are a grand total of 43 characters that have a name in Infinite Ryvius. 7 main characters, 13 Zwei members, 6 members of Blue's Cruise, 13 side characters, as well as the Dragon, Conrad Vicus, the Big Bad, Berkovich, Shimamura, and finally the heroic and valiant Instructor Campbell. As far as I can tell, that is all of them. If we missed any, please let us know in the comments because I really want this video to be the definitive source of information on this particular topic since it is so disjointed and scattered everywhere else on the internet. One last thing, huge shout out to the Reddit user Just Answer a Question for filling in the missing pieces related to a lot of these characters because as I just said, there are a lot of websites out there with a whole lot of incomplete information that I had to rely upon for the recording, and the anime doesn't outright name a lot of the characters in the dub. The images that you saw earlier were made and posted by that person in a Reddit thread dedicated to rewatching Ryvius for its 25th anniversary. I will leave a link to that Reddit topic in the description. That's it, boys. Thanks again for being here. Punching out. Okay, bye.
So we're going to move on to something that I mentioned earlier in the opening is actually number 2. Do you think this is an over-bloated mess?
Nah, I mean, it's pretty slow, so it's we were talking like maybe 3 or 4 major arcs, maybe. I mean, it's an appropriate, length for each arc for like a 26-episode anime. I mean, that's about right. I mean, it gets really slow paced at some points, so I guess I don't really know what you mean by bloated.
So I think, and I don't know, maybe
yeah.
I think what I mean is that they pack so much in, like you were just talking about. It's a lot like that, where it's all packed in and they don't really have time to really feel these relationships out and to do a bunch of exposition. So
they correctly focus on their relationships, so they definitely took it the right way. So I don't know. I mean, I could have used a few more episodes, I guess. So they did kind of cram it in there a little bit, but I don't think it's overloaded.
Well, and even from, more or less from a character standpoint, do you think they went? Do you think they went too far with it with the characters? Do you think they made too many? Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters. There's too many characters.
Well, and that's I really don't think that it's just so hard. Like I said, it's the main barrier for entry. It's something that everybody that I've seen in a lot of reviews, pretty much all the reviews, are like, there's a lot of things to know in this anime. Question number 3 is pacing in all of its 90s glory here. Do you think this was well paced?
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah, slow first arc, but like I just said before, the amount of arcs are appropriate, and it's about what you could probably fit in a 26-episode anime. So nothing's like coming like too fast, but they do really drag ass in the beginning really badly because they're trying to set up all these. But that's a consequence of just having all these characters they got to flesh out. So like we get the good juicy arcs like after the first like 8 episodes.
Sure.
But like I can't remember exactly how the first arc ends, but it's pretty much we're just learning who these characters are. It's almost like a slice of life.
So, you know, it's funny.
For a little bit.
It's funny you think that, because I'm over here thinking, man, this reminds me of Trailer Park Boys, right? So infinite Trailer Park Boys now.
Trailer Park.
Anyway, so it's like this. The personalities are always really well hammered out. There's way fewer characters, but it's the funny interactions between these people and how they deal with each other is the comedy of the show, right? It's not even necessarily like a joke thing, and you have to watch that first season, and it's not funny at all the first time you watch Trailer Park Boys like that. At least most people I've shown the first season, they're like, "Why do you like this? What do you?"
I don't know if I've seen the first one.
Well, and they're like, "Why do you like this? I don't get this show." And I'm like, "Just hold on, like we got to get through this first season," and then like that. There's that moment. I think it really starts to hit people where it hit me the first time. Where in that second season, where he walks up to like Jim Leahy, and like the park is in like an absolute mess. It's like completely just trashed.
Don't give me a rough time, Julian. I'm working here.
I just want to talk to you.
What about?
What is up with this election for a new trailer park supervisor?
I don't know. You tell me.
What, you want to lose your job?
What job? This isn't a job. I'm a slave to this park. Always have been. Kids throwing bottles, cars on fire. I got no help anymore. Andy's gone. You asked me if I care.
Come on.
You asked me. Go ahead, ask me if I care.
All right. Do you care, Jim?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, ask me.
I just asked you.
What?
And like that moment, I think, is when that show really starts to become funny. And this has that same kind of a feeling. Although I have it written down in my notes that it's a lot even for a 26er. I think that they kind of waste some time, and I'll say it like this. So it's kind of a mess. It starts slow with its big setups, but pays them off reasonably well. But sometimes, what I didn't finish writing here, but sometimes it does this stuff with the flashbacks, right? Where I think we recap a little bit too much time. We spend a little bit too much time recapping. I'm glad that they, put like a new twist on it and at least make it worth our while. So we're at least getting something out of it, and it's not like just a complete shameless, like I said, Goro Taniguchi just cut version of the old episode. So they're at least making it worth our while. So I don't know, man. It's just one of those things. I think that's really just kind of where my criticisms with it lie. I think they're trying to jam a lot, even for a 26er. And I think you were right when you said that it was probably would have been better if it was longer. Like if they wanted to have all these characters, and they really could have taken that really far.
Either remove 8 characters or make it another 8 episodes long.
Oh, I mean, fair enough. That probably would have done the deal.
Yeah.
Ryvius, check this.
Do you like the way Ryvius uses foreshadowing and flashbacks?
Talk about the flashbacks. I think the reason they do the flashbacks so much is like they know they're packing a lot of information in these episodes, so they're trying to like make sure you know the important things.
You know this. Nice.
So maybe they did it unwillingly. Like maybe they wanted to have less flashbacks, but like maybe they just felt it was necessary to help keep you like on track with all this crazy stuff going on. This is marketed as a shonen too, right? So they got to try to keep the attention span of like a younger adult.
Yeah. Well, and that maybe you're right. And I think that's what I mean.
So maybe they made that choice based on that.
It's greatest strength, it's greatest weakness, because it's like it's still, they at least try to take it home. They try to ham it up all the way and commit to a bit more or less.
Yeah.
But what I think is that not enough sometimes, and sometimes too much. Sometimes really, really relevant and interesting information, but it sometimes drags on over recapping things that like just happened like 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, man! So many animes will go through this. Like they'll put the flashback in the same episode.
Yeah.
Like that we just watched it.
Right.
Like this isn't like recap in the sense of it's been a week since you've seen the episode because it's brand new, but it's like the same episode.
And this is the show not tell rule, which we are knocking on the door of here, which is they're a little bit too deliberate, I think, sometimes. But it happens.
Foreshadowing, I mean, that's probably one of its better strengths.
But yeah, I think the foreshadowing is great. Well,
I can't think of any examples right now, but I know there's a lot of really good death flags. So.
And I'm talking, I'll give it up on the foreshadowing. This is all pretty well because there's that, like I said, we even see the captain like remembering his daughter as her body is like floating in space. So that's what I mean. Like sometimes that's interesting and relevant, and we don't really know why, but we'll know like way later on. This anime is much better the second time you watch it. Actually, way better, and it's pretty great. But yeah, I just think, I don't know, like sometimes the flashbacks are stupid and the recaps like immediate. And it's just, like, why do we need that? We just saw that. And that's the show not tell, right? When you should just like show Kouji making at least a concerned face and like a noise or something. Show the audience. You don't have to directly tell them about what the just happened, you know?
Ryvius.
Number 5. This would be an interesting question. Do you think this was made on the cheap?
I feel like they wasted a lot of money making this shit.
You think?
Yeah.
So I couldn't find anything.
Oh, really?
I couldn't find a whole lot about it.
We're going to speculate then.
I didn't really look, actually, like a whole lot. I didn't have time to do all the stuff I wanted to research. But yeah, this is something I didn't look up. But I don't know. I've seen people say that it's cheap because that it's sort of bare bones in a lot of ways, and the character designs are uninspired and generic in a lot of ways.
Okay, yeah, let's think about it.
And there's this thing that happens, it's called digital destruction, right? Where when they transfer the old analog to the digital copies, something up somewhere, sometimes the animation just looks terrible. It's out of focus or something, and it's like off. That's digital destruction. Somebody f***ed up the transfer. And the master is the master forever. It's even like that on the Blu-ray. So that seems like a cut corner or incompetence or something.
Man, what other anime came out in 1999 that we can think of right now?
There's a lot, man.
Yeah, I would have to do like a side-by-side comparison. But let's think about it. With CGI, I mean, did I really use any CGI in this?
Not really.
And they were kind of using it back then a little bit. Here's a good thing, or something good to point out. They destroyed the planet off screen.
Oh, he said ass.
It was just absolute clumsiness on our part. I can almost hear those bitches on the Decastia cackling at us right now.
Wow, he's so mad.
Estimated course, judging from their personal position.
Evil Buzz Lightyear.
Basically, right?
Did they just off-screen blow up Hyperion?
Hyperion's been completely destroyed.
Dude, oh my god, they off-screen blew it up. This is No Country for Old Men. What the f***? This is lazy.
Now, did they do that because they didn't have it in the budget to animate a planet destruction and not have it look silly as heck, like a Star Wars explosion or something?
So Blue Gender, the Big O, Great Teacher Onizuka.
That's a fun one.
Turn A Gundam.
So I mean,
Better Man is actually in here.
So I think about those. I mean, it's all about the same, but yeah, it sounds like somebody just messed up, really.
It might be. Well, I've heard, like I said, I've heard the criticism, or rather read the criticism levied in the reviews that this was made cheaply, and that's an example of it.
And then what you mentioned about the characters being like plain uninspired, I actually like the character design because they don't do the anime thing and give everybody looks like they could be a real person in real life.
Yep.
And I really like animes that do that, and the consequence of that is just your characters are going to look a little more similar because of that.
Like Ran and Aoi being basically like the same character, almost like they look exactly the same with the same haircut until the end. But
we can speculate. Yeah.
Well, we can go further and say
middle of the road.
Numbers. So you think maybe there might have been a little bit, but
I want to say middle of the road.
I think they wasted all their on like the beginning, and they didn't realize how much time they were actually going to have at the end, and they were like, we gotta cram all this in. When the Blue Impulse just has to stop attacking them because that big group of Vaya fly in. Very convenient, I think.
Yeah, be grateful, okay? Whether it was an asteroid or something else. Without its help, we wouldn't have survived.
And it's like one of those things that like they were like, okay, we ran out of budget for this episode, we're gonna have to end it now. And then, okay, kaboom, Hyperion explodes into bits off screen. We take that really important, really cool event and that we could have shown to our audience, and then we just have it off screen, which is so stupid. And that's another thing that, I mean, like, you know, do you think they had to cut corners, right? Like, they made on the cheap like that, so they couldn't just show a planet exploding?
Possibly, yeah, because I don't think animes were as well funded back then, and this was also before the recession, so studios would take a risk on things that may or may not work out, because this is an original work, so this isn't based off of a manga as far as I know. So it's also possible the studio responsible for this was taking a risk on it, because anytime you do an original story, like, you don't really have the fan base there already.
Sunrise and Bandai.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm just speculating now. I'm just spitballing here. So the mangas, so like when they make an anime based on a manga, they already have a following, so they can guarantee they can write some they're gonna make some amount of money on it for sure.
Fair enough.
But this they can't really know for sure because this is original.
Alright,
and
well,
a lot of the animes back from that era were original too, and I miss it.
Yeah.
Ryvius.
Do you like the animation?
Yeah, I think it holds up for its time. Yeah, and like I said, I love that they didn't give everybody colored hair. That kind of works with that question too. That's one of my favorite parts about the animation.
Yeah, I think you nailed it when you said that it makes everybody much more relatable because it makes them feel like that, like regular everyday people and characters. There's not like there's no crazy soul taker looking motherfucker working around goofy. I mean, other than her, other than Naya and our Naya,
there's no sneaking in there a little bit.
Right, they got to take their punches and pull their punches, but I think it's typical and better for the 90s or worse.
They make the characters different enough too. Like we got really big people, we got tiny people,
sure,
like tall, skinny people.
But big to
that's kind of the way they make them unique.
But big to the point where Blue and Fu actually look like adults.
You
know what I mean? Like so.
True, yeah. Kouji as a main character totally kind of has that like bland main character look to it. Like
yes, he does.
Probably we've designed him maybe, but it's kind of like the stereotypical main character anime I had on 14 from like so middle school. I'm just an avatar for no person.
It's subversive, right? But no, but no, it's subversive.
Yeah.
And really, if you think about it,
it does, yeah.
If you think about it, though, yeah, he's not your typical hero. I wouldn't call him that, but he is. I think he is supposed to. He is really supposed to be the everyman, right?
Yeah, it could be a stylistic choice based on that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So they're going to animate him like he is the everyman and the most relatable person. So they make him as generic as possible, right? So I think it might have been calculated there. But yeah, I really like the fight scenes, and the science fiction stuff looks cool for the most part. I will say it's very chunky in some places, and you could tell they did cut corners here and there. But other than that, you got to think, you said, for the time, it's great because they didn't have all the digital bullshit back then like they do now. It wasn't nearly as easy as it is now. Back then, as now they have way better, way easier things. They can animate things a lot better. They don't really have to cut corners like they used to because like paper is not involved.
They're like any problem they run into, just CGI.
Ryvius.
7. What do you think of the mecha in this, including the ships?
I think it's a fresh take on Mecha, so yeah, I don't know if it's really fresh in the scheme of like chronologically with all the anime, but you know, we're used to getting bombarded by like Gundam, right? So this is like this unique thing, kind of like Evangelion with like the weird partially alive robots.
Yeah.
I think Evangelion came first.
I think it did too.
And so it's a cool twist. So there's like a lot of I like that there's a lot of limitations to it. Like it's not just all powerful win card, although with the exception of Naya, of course, but like the mechs themselves, like they're just really limited. Like they need a whole crew to control it. It's like on these strings and so like it's not just like this robot that just comes out and kicks ass, you know what I mean? Like it's upset and like some strategic positioning and you know, all that good stuff.
Yeah, they have to earn it.
Yeah. So cool take on mechs, and there's not too many of them either, so they don't like that would be way too overwhelming with all these characters if there was like more than a couple mechs.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess I didn't think about it that way. It is really kind of the opposite of Gundam. The way that it's controlled, it's not one person sitting in a cockpit. It's like a whole team of people. It's interesting too that it works like that. That they made it work like that, considering that they all generally have to work together to survive anyway. And working together is a big facet of what this anime is trying to get across too. It's fun, very convenient, very smart choice, I think, on their part. But did you ever catch? I didn't really ever hear them name the vital garter of the Black Ryvius. Okay, every other one gets a name. And I don't think we might hear it. They might say what its name is in one of those like scientist recaps. I don't remember.
I do recall Mystery 1. That just kind of gets brushed under the rug, it feels like.
So, but hold on. So the ships there's the Black Ryvius and its vital garter, which is called the Aiba. The Blue Impulse with its particular drill. There's the Crimson Dicastia with its Ice Fina. With the Grey Gespenst with Geist. But I think they're interesting. I think it's and man, the more I think about it, the more I think you're right. Like it is I didn't really think about it in terms of Gundam. I tried to give it like a look on its own, and it really Evangelion, but yeah, it's kind of like anti-Gundam, because the ships and the mobile suits have to be attached to one another, and they have to work so closely in tandem. Like the ship itself is actually the weapon, and the vital garter is like just its little attack unit.
The railgun, man, the railgun, Hyperion, man, that was cool.
You mean I don't think it was called, but it was around Mars. The circular, railgun.
Yeah.
That thing was very, very cool, and I do want one, and I know you probably want one too.
Yeah, that's the best piece of technology. Screw the Gundams, that thing's badass.
Ryvius.
So question number 8, let's discuss the various political power structures and how they function. Okay, so we have 4 of them.
We both saw that real quick, dude.
Yeah,
It's about to get real.
We have 4 regimes, right? We have the Zwei, and I'm talking after they leave the ship, when they're all by themselves, when they are a self-contained society. Okay, we have the Zwei that assert their leadership. So then we have Blue's crews, as I've dubbed them, and then we have the monitors, and then finally the guardians. Starting first off with the Zwei, they are traditionalist, they're bureaucratic, meritocratic, they're authoritarian, but they are more or less a representative republic. They are generally safe, generally liberal, and they were cooed for lying about the severity of the situation, basically. But that's more or less what they are, right? Because if you think about it, they're traditionalists in the sense that they come from the order that birthed the Ryvius, right? So they're from the past, they're the traditionalists in that regard. They're sort of carrying on the tradition of their ancestors. They're bureaucratic because they manage everything through bureaus and things like that, through trying to solve teams, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. They're meritocratic because Luxon has everybody do what? Discipline through what?
Why did you go and post everybody's personal marks on the terminals? They're already stressed out enough as it is.
Until help arrives, we have to make sure we have discipline on this ship. We acknowledge those with greater abilities to keep everyone in line. It's really pretty obvious from a captain's standpoint.
I have to agree with Luxon's opinion on this.
Stein?
Considering the tragedy that has befallen the instructors, it's now our duty to lead the other students. Please, try to understand, Yuli.
I understand what you're getting at, but still...
Remember, discipline through merit.
Merit, yeah.
You know, he has them all take tests to see who the best pilot is, right?
Yeah, so there's a vertical movement that you can partake in.
So, and they're also authoritarian because they are in control in there. But they're
what a weird combo.
But they're, yes, very true. But also still generally liberal, and they were just cooed because they lied about how dangerous a specific situation was. I'm here to say that I think this Zwei did no wrong, and this is what can happen when certain groups try to use former oppressors. Let me hit the quotation fingers there as a scapegoat. When those people who then try to demonize them and make other people treat them terribly, as is what happens with this Zwei, they get this reputation like that. It's a terrible thing that happens in real life too. People get demonized, and it is unfairly these people get demonized. Like Luxon shouldn't get beaten up like he does constantly, and whatever else they do to him, strip him naked. Remember that too?
Yeah, maybe sodomy.
Ugh. Scary. This anime's scary.
I feel like there's a few moments where something might have happened.
So anyway, so like I said, they get cooed because they lied about the severity of the situation. Enter Blue's crews, right? Straight up dictatorship. No other way about it. Blue is the leader. Straight up dictatorship. Libertarian, right? Anarchic, autocratic. And that's basically the whole shebang right there. That is what they are. There's a lack of order leads to safety concerns and corruption almost instantly. Cooed because Blue attempts to sell everyone out to Hyperion. Because that's what he eventually was going to do. He was just like, fuck, let's go there with the Ryvius and my dad and everybody will come back here and capture the ship. And he was going to sell them out, you know? And they were like, hell nah, everybody just like that. So what do you think about that? Do you think that's an accurate depiction so far?
Arachno-libertarianism.
Anarcho-libertarian?
Anarcho.
So think about it, right? And it's so weird that it's a dictatorship, but it's libertarian.
Yeah.
But think about it. What is it? Okay, so listen, think about this. So there are plenty of times where Kouji comes up and asks Blue what he wants to do. Or somebody else like Yuli asks him, what should I do? And do you remember what he said?
I'm gonna let him do what he wants. Huh?
Every single time. I don't care what you do.
So what a great dictator.
He's a libertarian, bro. He's libertarian as f***. You hear what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't care what you do. Just do whatever the f*** you do. And a lot of the time, even when he doesn't like the things that people do, sometimes he's like, wait a minute, I can live with this. This is fine. But they're anarchic, right? I don't care. There's a point where that I don't care really becomes a very bad thing. Where yeah, it's cool, and they really show that in the society where everybody's like having fun and eating pizza and playing video games. And then like later on, everybody is like, you know, busted and broken because everybody stops working. They talked about it. Because I don't care, right? They take on that animated personality trait, if you will. Yeah. But like I said, the lack of order leads to safety concerns and corruption. It's like instantaneous. It's like literally the start of the next episode. Bang! But yeah, so the next group up, right? The group that cooed Blue, the cooed Blues Cruise, the monitors, right? Democratic, right? Socialist, bureaucratic, authoritarian, and highly regulatory. Okay? Pretty much brass tacks, that's exactly what the fuck happened, right? Because was Yuli appointed, or did they vote for her?
They voted for her, right?
They straight up all voted for her. So she was voted in as the leader, okay? And I say that they're socialist because what they try to do is what socialism ends up trying to do to any sort of financial market, whereas in this instance, this is like social theory, if you will, like a Marxist social theory in a way, where these people, they come in and the idea is to immediately try to find the disparity, right, in the gap, go there and immediately put things on that are crippling and will eventually take it to a different kind of government, right? So they're trying to more or less grow the government by, if you will, sort of attaching these parasites to the structure already and trying to change certain things. And Stein takes that role on all too gleefully. And remember, like, when he's even when she first gets control, it's not Aaron that's in control, it's him. It's Stein the whole time, really doing all the calculations and shit. He is the man behind the woman in that regard, like we were talking about before.
You do agree that we should keep the point system as is?
Yes.
What about the patrols and supervisors?
Huh? On a volunteer basis.
Okay, I'll be in charge of that.
Oh, before I forget, I wanted to talk about that unlimited point status we all have. I want to discontinue that privilege.
What? Why is that?
If we receive special treatment, it'll only create an atmosphere of distrust toward us. Everyone must be treated the same.
But we're the ones who are really piloting the Ryvius. The ship's only gotten this far because of all of our work.
It's an obvious right.
We'll keep it hush-hush. No one will say a thing to the ordinary people.
Yes, but...
It's definitely socialist. It's some terrible authoritarian bullshit. It's bureaucratic because he makes all the goddamn decisions, and then all of the monitors, they all, you know, bureaucrat all over these kids if they don't fucking do anything.
Authoritarian bureaucrats, like...
well, this is these democratic socialist bureaucrats who are authoritarian.
Yeah, some secretary shows up with a gun, like, yeah, you better file that paperwork.
Yeah. we heard you file like a paperwork error. But they're generally also, something that I didn't mention is that they're also orderly. They're also much more orderly than Blue's last version, and that's where the highly regulatory stuff comes in. They are led by somebody with great intentions who is overtaken by radicals within her own government. Corrupt, unsafe, low morale, low trust, cooed by Ikami's military might. And it was overtaken by some crazy fascist bullshit, crazy person, as you'll see. So that segues us nicely into this fascist crazy bullshit people who were called the Guardians.
Oh yeah, we're on 200 now.
So they are autocratic, straight up, communist as well, bureaucratic and ultra authoritarian, okay? Brutal regulations, highly militaristic, highly orderly, low in happiness, and corrupt to the goddamn core. And finally ended by adults.
The adults finally showed up.
Yep, that's exactly how it ends, is the adults stop him. Because other than that, he was on the path to kill Kouji and nobody would have stopped him.
Oh, yeah.
They would have let him do it. But yeah, so what do you think about how that? Do you think that's an accurate summation?
Yeah.
So let me explain why the Guardians are communist, right? The Guardians are communists because the Monitors are socialists. And really, the Monitor is going to the Guardians. Nothing more since Ikumi let Stein just continue to do what he was doing. Didn't matter who the leader was. Same boss. New boss, same as old boss.
Yeah, they just ramp it up to 100.
Basically.
Since no more Yuli.
Since no more Yuli and since Ikumi wants the crime down to 0.
Yeah, 0 crime.
He really says that, and that's some socialist fucking like communist bullshit. Well, okay, we need equality of outcome. Okay, no crime, everybody in jail. Let's go. Everybody's in jail. They can't commit crimes. They're all in jail, right? So anyway, I think that Ikumi really lost his mind when Kozue got attacked. That was like the big thing that flipped him and turned him into a maniacal maniac who wanted to literally kill everybody on the ship to prove his point by grabbing, and we didn't really talk about it, but he grabs the front of the ship and smacks it with the vital garter just to prove that he's serious.
Yeah. Another thing you can look at too here is with each, it gets crazier and crazier with each one, and that kind of correlates with the Sphinx, right? That makes the people who control the ship like crazy, silly crazy, and like we finally get to this point, we got Ikumi or whatever his name is, like he's just like pretty much completely lost his mind.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell. I think he sees Naya like a couple of times. I'm not sure if she is to blame for their mania. I'm really not sure if that's the truth or not, because there are things I've read where all of the other captains go insane, and it's hard to tell if those people went insane or if they already were insane. Because Fina's kind of got that weird, I'm detached from reality, somebody probably hit me or touched me funny in a weird way, when I was a kid kind of thing. Like something's wrong with her. She's eerie. You know what I mean? There's like a weird energy that hangs over her, like just in the way that she looks and everything. And Ikumi has that weird complex from the jump, and that's what animates him so much. He doesn't want people to die like his Wincest sister did so much that he'll jump into action to take anybody's fucking life. That's basically what I'm sure, right? So I think that you can kind of understand those people's motivations, whereas with those captains, they just sort of, as the episode goes on, they get crazier and crazier. Like the Hyperion getting blown up, that's definitely there because that guy went crazy. So do you remember how the female captain is like ruthlessly hard on them?
Yeah.
Can't anybody do anything right? Damn you, youngsters!
It's because she's crazy from the goddamn buy-in.
Yeah, and I never really mentioned that and like if it's really affecting them or not.
Yeah, but the kids are different because it's actually said that they were the only. That's why they come back to try to get them to pilot the Ryvius again, because they were the only group of people that didn't go crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I missed that. So yeah, it's hard not to see it on the last episode when they do that.
But we go back and the cycle starts again, right? And because who comes back in but the people that gave this vibe their tradition. But yeah, so in some way, if there was a little bit of order in Blue's Cruise, man, when he was in charge, it would have been cool, but it's too libertarian, bro. And this, I think what this does politically, right, is this kind of likes to poke holes in certain ideological, I guess you could call them disciplines. It likes to take those ideas, express them in a group of people that are well defined, and then poke holes in them where they need to be, right? So the Zvais are guilty of lying, right? Zvais are guilty of lying. Blue is basically guilty of greed, if you will, because he's trying to literally sell them out, get a bunch of money from his dad, and ride off into the sunset with Yuli, probably who does. And then the Monitors are basically, again, guilty of deception here, but they're guilty of the terrible crime of the moral busybodies, right? That's exactly what the Monitors are. It's even in the name, the Monitors, right? Those moral busybodies who are worried about what you're doing, who think that they know what's best for you without ever saying a goddamn word to you. That's more or less the long and short of it with the politics. I could talk more about it, but I think we covered it fairly well enough. So any more thoughts on that before we move on?
The politics?
Yeah. Politicos.
Yeah, it's the most interesting part of the anime.
You think?
It's one of its greatest strengths too, is having like all those governments take over.
Well, yeah, those more or less amalgams of those kind of governments.
Yeah, it kind of adds to the whole social aspect.
Sure does.
And provides to its big strength.
Ryvius.
What do you, Sir Zach, think that this is about from a meta standpoint, right? Like, what is the writer trying to tell you, right? Like, so for example, the movie 21 Days with Sandra Bullock is about this lady who's a mess and literally hijacks her sister's wedding limousine and crashes it into a car after she face plants into her sister's wedding cake and basically is an abject disaster at the wedding party. So she's f***ed up and she needs to get her life together, right? And it's a movie it's about her journey, it's about addiction, and it's about how people grow through those things and overcome their addictions. It's a great movie, believe it or not. And something I never in a million years thought. My girlfriend randomly brings movies over here, and every now and then my girlfriend will bring a movie over here that's actually really great.
So the message or the message, the writer...
What's it about?
Yeah, what's it about? It's... to me, it's like a coming-of-age story, I guess, because, you know, I mean, for everybody, they're all in that maturity stage. This is a really big theme in a lot of anime, too. They're all in that, like, stage of maturity where they're becoming adults, and so, like, part of becoming an adult is basically trials and tribulations and failing and succeeding and
finding when you're wrong.
Yeah, finding out that you're wrong, and coping and learning how to cope with that situation. This is like on an extreme shonen action anime super level, where life's around the line.
Right.
So I guess it's a little more than just that. I think more than that, it's also about teamwork and power of friendship.
Yeah, I think this might be the final boss of like power of friendship animes, really.
Yeah.
But okay, so personally,
together, overcoming differences.
I think that it's about people, right? Straight up, this is about people. It's about us. It's a character study on humankind, right? How they work together, the best and the worst, the good and the bad. Truly a character study of the human condition is what I wrote down. And that's why I'm going to reveal probably something that I think will kind of belie what I'm going to pick here at the end. And that is that I think this is just so well written. And what it's trying to get across is something that I think we need in America and just generally politically everywhere nowadays, especially. It says, hey, everybody's wrong sometimes. It doesn't have to be World War III. You could just be like, yep, you know what, I fucked that up. Sorry about that. Let's move on. Let's look at how I can get better.
World War III, alright, let's move on.
But instead, no, we would rather blow each other up because stupidity.
The world needs a little infinite Ryvius.
Well, and I mean, because it teaches them that they're in it together, right? No matter what, they have to survive, right? And they're basically put up against all these situations. And do you remember what Naya said the most prevalent? She literally says the one thing that they all agree on is,
yeah, no die.
I don't want to die. Like I said, I think they're really just trying to portray that. It's the human condition. It's a character study on mankind, how we deal with problems, working together. Like you said, responsibility is, I think, a big theme.
Yeah. A lot of focus on suffering, too.
Yeah, well, life is like that. Life is tough sometimes.
Yeah, the way it displays suffering is pretty raw, too, compared to a lot of animes. It definitely goes really deep into that, especially with Aoi.
Yeah, speaking of which, hold on. We'll talk about that specifically. That's something I want to... There's a whole... You're foreshadowing over here. All of the children or all the young people, do not, just go, just leave, go away. Alright, because this is going to be our next entry in the terrible series called What the F*** Japan? Question number 10, are you ready? Is, did you notice all of the weirdly placed sexualization of these teenagers?
Yeah. What the heck, Japan? Big time. And this is like such a big theme in like a lot of anime, and like they definitely didn't carry the 90s. You mentioned Great Teacher Onizuka before. They're super guilty of that in that anime too.
Oh yeah.
Despite it being a pretty good anime. But yeah, I don't know what it is about the Japanese writers they do and why they do this. And they would probably argue that like, well, they expose their teenagers to a lot more mature themes than we do culturally here in America. So they might try to argue it's like.
So hold on a second. We'll talk about the culture, and I think that's a good segue. You kind of saw where I was going with this.
Yeah.
So hold on. Before we get to that point, I want to detail some of these things. So that's why there are no children allowed in this particular section. So Criff and Michelle in general, okay? Just in general, Criff is dressed just in such an oversexualized manner.
That, as long as you know what I am. Come on.
Kouji, Can I have beef too?
Sure.
And the next one here is, this one's going to be tough to talk about, but Michelle becomes a super prostitute again. So there is, and I told you I was going to talk about this before, it was the time when that guy is fixing his pants, zipping up his fly, walking away after saying,
Okay, I'm finished with her.
How did it go?
Kinda lacked something. I expected to get a bigger charge out of it.
That's how it usually is.
Listen, make sure you don't give that room code to anyone.
I know!
Are you alright, Charlie?
As long as nothing happens to you, I'm alright, Criff.
Charlie.
I wonder how your sister's doing.
She's a pretty strong girl, but...
Get on up with the hyped out, the freaked out, cheeked out spaceship. You want it, revise, you need it.
Blue, did you really betray us?
Because it's my spaceship.
yeah, it's always like that.
It's always like that when you're
committed.
I'm gonna let him do what he wants.
Huh?
Yeah, we're gonna be. Yeah, this is the
Rumble. Those words.
The Rumble version of this is gonna be very spicy, but y'all on YouTube are gonna have to deal with the censorship. Sadly, after that scene, we are then showed, like I said, Criff in jail and Michelle in bondage, right? Basically, and that's basically what the f is. So the angle that they show it at, it's like the camera is on the ground, and you can see that the bindings that she's in, her legs have to stay, but basically open, and she's bound up like this with her legs open.
Wow, how did I miss that?
And it blew my mind. I was like, wow. So there's literally, we're not even gonna acknowledge that these guys are forcibly
do what he wants.
This woman over and over again, this girl rather, I should say, over and over again, awfully libertarian. That's crazy, man, for this anime. And the reason you didn't notice it is because it's real quick, man. It's real quick. And it's one of those things that the only reason I really paid attention was because I was super interested, because that particular scene, for that kind of stuff to be happening under authority without anybody challenging it, much quite the opposite, that the government, the people in authority are doing that kind of stuff, that's a big time window into how corrupt that culture already is. And that's like right after they take control. That's the monitors though. So anyway, that's what I mean. Like, so we deal with some hard ass and they really just kind of glaze over it, but she f***s her way to the top. Remember, I told you there's that scene where she leaves homeboy locked up in those set of like bindings. So he's locked up there, and she's like, "See ya," and like walks out of the cell door, and then just then, that's when the power shifts again, and Ikumi takes over, and that's when she goes and joins him, and she's on the bridge with him. And there's a bunch of dudes surrounding her. Gee, I wonder why they like her. And again, how old is she? And these are things that they don't really address, but boy howdy, they're right there.
Yeah, it goes a lot further than other animes do with...
Oh yeah, so we're not done yet, man. So there's the upskirt shots. I mean, like, there's at least, I think, 4 of those. There's 2. I'm not putting those up on the screen. That's just, to be honest. Like I said, I did it the one time, I think, but I blurred.
Well, here we're getting into the more... This is what sets us apart from other animes that kind of do that, because culturally, usually it's just like those playful, like, panty shots or whatever, you know, in the Japanese culture, they think that's fine or whatever. But this takes it to the next level, because now we have the grapes and everything else going on with it, and it's like a really high level of maturity for something marketed to like a young adult crowd. Yeah. But they expect their young adults to be able to take that kind of content, which it's weird. What the heck, Japan, man?
I like that they expect that, but that's why this whole section is just a what the fuck Japan.
Yeah, what the heck Japan.
So Michelle becomes a super madam prostitute, but all the upskirt shots are egregious. There's just ridiculous. Ikumi's whole relationship with his sister is some what the f*** Japan. What?
Rescued? Did he say rescued? After all this time, why would it happen now?
Photo finish, man. Photo finish right there.
My sister killed herself. We loved each other, but it wasn't permitted.
Whoa. Damn. Can get the Star Wars elements in there.
Dude, you know what? I kind of wondered, like, that about them. because of how weirdly overprotective he is of her, you know? I kind of wondered if it versions sexual, and holy shit, we just got a confirmation. So, here's proof positive that Wincest is a myth. Because my man just took a fat L right here in front of everybody's face. Oh my god. Dude, the end of this is some wild.
Dude, that's the thing is. That's the biggest offender.
Dude, oh my god. My reaction, I think I remember I freaked out when I heard that. I was like,
to the ground. Yeah.
You what with your who? Huh? What's wrong with you, boy? But okay, so hold on, we're not done yet. The impossible skirts, too. This is such a terrible offender of the impossible skirts.
Yeah.
Okay? It does that. And also, how about, there's Kozue's assault. I forgot about that. I forgot to write this down in this one. It's really implied that they
do what he wants.
Yeah. And I think it's literally legitimately by the bruises that you can see on her, and she's really f***ed up over it. I don't know if it's because she's literally so low in neurosis and is so blind to the world around her that she just never thought that could happen, and then just got beat into the dirt and then like reacted really terribly. I don't know if it's that or if they did actually do the essay.
Yeah, they're making her eat some grapes
or something. I don't know. What else they did, but either way, they were inflicting their revenge on her.
So that's 2 so far.
So, and then what was the other one? Hold on now. Yeah, there's nothing else. Oh, the naked guy walking around all the time is strange. And Ran loves Pat. Okay.
Yeah.
What in the flying dude? Are we going to argue that 5-year-olds are mature and they throw a lot of that?
I'm trying to think of something to say. I just don't have anything to say about
do
that.
they culturally throw a lot of their 5-year-olds? Apparently,
I got nothing for that one.
I know that Rand wants to throw a lot at that 5-year-old. However, Jesus, though, man, what is that? That's so strange to me.
And this is marketed towards young adults too.
And I don't. What the like? Who knows? What is wrong with her, dude? And there's like, it's not like there's not plenty of other options, and she's just like madly in love and like turned on visibly by this child, and nobody's like, that's weird, Rand. Why don't you like a boy that's your own age? Like nobody says that at all.
They bias.
Question number 11, man. Too much 90s flair or not enough?
This show is the 90s. This is like, and this is so perfect. It's at the end of the decade because it's just a big sum up of the 90s, like in a big anime.
Sure.
Send off the 90s with it.
I think it might have been like from a trend standpoint, especially in '99. It's about 6 years behind the times.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who grew up in the '90s, the late '90s rap it was way better than what they're trying to do. They're trying to do like Grandmaster Flash and Math Room, talking to himself, playing the Casio keyboard, like the same one in Dark Cat. But dude, I think the 90s are. I think it's meh, is what I think. I like a lot of the color styles they nail. The graffiti being all jagged, wild and crazy, looking like that. Awesome. Looks like a gang sign. Looks like a tag. Looks pretty badass. Like that. The 90s rap kid is one of the most cringe goddamn things I've ever seen in my life. I fucking so love that the only 2 times we actually see that, there is a character that tells him to shut up both times.
Prognosis.
I thought I told you to shut the hell up!
No, the situation.
Yes, thank you for acknowledging that this guy's annoying as and thank you. It was great, it's just great. But I hate him, but I love how they handled that. Also, I guess this is an interesting time. I'll bring up some of the stuff that I saw, at least in the special features of these DVDs. There's the early ones specifically. There are these things called VJ videos, right? Do you remember video jockey videos from the 90s?
No.
TRL. Total Request Live. It was a very big thing in the 90s, where if you watched MTV, which I did back then, they would have a bunch of people call in, right? Total Request Live, and you call in and request a song to be played, one of the top 10 songs each week, right? Each day. And because of timing constraints, they were unable to play the full music video So they would basically just take all those videos and cut them up. So they're sometimes it's different. Sometimes they would have like a full-on tempo that never stopped from the beginning to the end. Anyway, in the special features of this are a bunch of BJ videos of the music from this that are cut to a bunch of random things from Japan around the 90s. So it's quite literally, you have no idea how right you are when you were like, it's fitting that it came at the end of the decade because this is the 90s, and it really, you could see people in Japan in the 90s in this, and it's cool. Some of the songs are cool. Most of the edits are really awesome. I really like that. That was the coolest thing by far.
Really biased.
And that's number 12. What are your thoughts about the music, my friend?
That's the thing that makes it the 90s the most. Like, I mean, it's so heavily music driven. Like, they really made a point to make it music driven. Everything about it, yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's what I mean. It's cool to see the VJ videos. It's just like that. It's everything is sort of interwoven with that. So I'll say that I think the music that plays in the background, all of the BGM in this, right, is great. All of that, like pretty much all of that is great. It's all good fusion music, and especially for the time, it's excellent for the time. But not beyond that, not beyond for the time. It's kind of aged a little poorly in some areas, but I think the opening is a song that I hated at first. I like it now. It's one of those things that's grown on me. The ending, I like the ending of the ending because she says sayonara and yells that note at the end, which is fun. It's a cool song. So I think it's good and bad. I think it grows on you. The 90s rap is f***ing terrible. They never should have tried to do it. And so is a lot of the instrumentation that they use. But it may have been intentional since the genre was still so new in the 90s. It does sound stylistically like rap from the early 90s. That's the thing that I noticed the most about it, is I think that the early 90s, it's very much like Grandmaster Flash, just sort of like recording something on his tape deck and then playing it back while he raps over it. Which is why I think the instrumentation, they might have gotten that style down so much that they were like, we have to use instruments, it's rap, right? Like, and maybe they're doing that because it's a stylistic thing of the time. And sometimes, like, the snare is terrible. Like, that snare sound that they use a lot in this is really, it's a bad snare, man. That's not a good snare. But I will say that I think the stings, those stings, like, between episodes are great, you know. There's a couple of them that are really cool that sound like gangster rap sometimes. And like, I was just like, oh my god, like, where's that? Like, why don't we have some Japanese lady, like, sing the hook of some like gangster rap song in Japanese, people are like shit. Like,
oh, dude, it's such a perfect language for it too.
Yeah, I know, man. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
why didn't they do that?
We got ahead of them on that. So culturally, anyways, we have like the harder language to really do that with.
Like, what if it was like a gangster rap song in Japanese about a samurai? Like, what's his name? Yoshimitsu. What's bad? So okay. Anyway, were there any other thoughts you had about the music?
Yeah, I mean, out of all the animes, it is the best culturally. That kind of shows the 90s, because you think about all the other 90s animes, they don't really focus on 90s culture, right? So that's kind of like that was almost like an untapped market at the time too. Like, there wasn't really any animes that, like, I mean, I'm sure there were, I'm just not thinking of them, but
maybe not. I don't know, but I think that you're right about that. That's because this anime, it's a capsule.
Yeah, so other 90s animes, they age a lot differently because they don't really have that cultural aspect to it, only like little bits and pieces of it.
Well, and it's weird because they're Japanese, but they're fucking examining our hip-hop culture with this weird group of teenagers in space.
Teenagers in space.
Ryvius!
Don't be ridiculous.
I'm going to detail some of these people from this all-star cast. It's a very huge list.
I'm probably familiar with these names. But
I just want to go over, so Luxon is Sam Vincent, who was an extra in G-Savior. Fun thing. He's Atherin Zala in Gundam Seed and many other things. Kelly Sheridan is in My Little Pony. She's Sango in Inuyasha. Many Barbie roles. That's who did Yuli. Yuki was Kirby Moro. That's Miroku and Goku for 118 episodes. And Shirley Barton from Gundam Wing. Kouji was Brad Swale, who was Light Yagami.
Yeah,
Amuro, Rei, Gohan, and of course, Kyosuke.
Mom, no, don't.
A dream? Did my mother actually stab me?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that worked on that in this. So, Kozue is Jocelyn Lowen, who is the Nurse Witch Kabuki herself, and Quest and Char's counterattack, right? Ikumi, who is Bill Switzer, who is Argyle in Gundam Seed, and Hathaway in Char's counterattack.
Oh, you got those Gundams down.
Yep, I went so hard with this, it blew my mind because there's so many of these people went on to so many things. Cullen, which is the music bitch, that's Maggie Blue O'Hara, who is Mari Maya in Endless Waltz and Bulma for 83 episodes in freaking Dragon Ball Z. Stein is Matt Smith, who is Tien, and Hayato from Mobile Suit Gundam. Aoi is Alexandra Carter, who didn't seem to do much, but she's hot. Fina is Kiara Zani, who did this like serious team drama called Edgemont, where it's actual acting. Various My Little Pony credits: White House Tour Girl in X2, the second X-Men movie. Ran was voiced by Elena Burnett, who was Salem Mast in Gundam, Char's secret sister, and Inuyasha's mother.
Oh, wow.
Naya is voiced by Chantel Strand, who also hot, it says here. Lacus Klein from Gundam Seed. We got Ching in Puka, which is very popular. She's Felt in Gundam 00 and also various other My Little Ponies. You got Sylvia Zardiak, who voiced Reiko. She's an experienced Walla director, which is somebody who works in the sound department. And she also did Matilda. Blue, it was Blue, Airs Blue, I should say, sorry.
Airs Blue. Yuli!
Was voiced by Andrew Francis, who is Dende in DBZ. Additional voices in Gundam Wing, Haseo and Dot Hack Roots, too, for quite a few episodes. Fu was voiced by Michael Adamthwaite, who was Byakuya in Inuyasha, Ribbons in what is it, 00, and he was Izak in Gundam Seed. Jay from Ninjago 2, which is like this Lego thing.
Yeah,
ninjas.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's huge, dude. He is one of the main voices in there. He is Jay, who has been in like every episode.
Oh, wow.
Criff, Tabitha St. Germain, right? Is it Martha from the show called Martha Speaks? She was Naz in Ed, and Eddie. She is
weird connections here.
Yep. Anyway, so much more. She's been in so many more other things, and she's also hot. Vanessa Morley did Michelle, who was f***ing young Samantha Mulder in the X-Files, my friend.
Oh, wow.
And also Kigali in Gundam Seed. Charlie, who was voiced by Alex Doduk, who did Young Samuels, who was like a character in Season 1, Episode 18 of the X-Files. Christ, who was voiced by Gabe Kuth, who was Michael in Northwood. Patrick in the OG It movie from 1990. And Nicole in Seed. In Gundam Seed, yeah. Weird how all these connections are like this. Brian was Richard Ian Cox, who is Inuyasha himself. And you're right. That is the guy that betrayed them, as the Inuyasha voice guy, Graham.
Yeah, I remember being disappointed that he wasn't in more episodes.
Yep, and that's Inuyasha, that's Kai Shiden, that's, so many fucking... It says deputy, I guess, also.
The Rom No One Half guy, too.
He was a deputy in a movie called My 5 Wives with Rodney Dangerfield in 2000, which I thought was funny. And many, many, many other things. Conrad was voiced by Ron Holder, right? He is Dr. Fazio in episode 13 in season 5 of X-Files. Berkovich is voiced by Turan Laharandral. I'm not even sure how to say your name, sorry, dude. He's an accomplished editor, 27 different titles, and he is a databank scientist on X-Files season 1, episode 1.
Dude, what is with the X-Files connection,
I
bro?
don't know, dude, but I figured you would enjoy them. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Yeah. So, Impulse Captain, who is a character but didn't get a name. John Murphy, who does a ton of voices in the video game Kasen, does various background voices in Death Note, and does many roles in recurring TV shows, guest starring all kinds of things. And he is Palpatine also in Lego Star Wars. Oh, Saboteur, right? Richard Duvall, 289 credits. Big time additional voices guy, and he also voiced Tem Ray, who is Amuro's father. And now we have Michael Dobson, who is the Mars Fleet Commander. So we have X-Files, Season 2, Episode 5, Season 3, Episode 20, Season 4, Episode 5, and Season 5, Episode 8. This man was in 4 X-Files episodes. And he was also General f***ing Rebel himself, and various voices in Gundam Wing. We're talking huge deals. The Mars Fleet Commander over here goes on to do all this. The Dicastia Captain, Pam Hyatt, 90 credits. Started in 1959. She's the grandma in the Sam and Max video game. And she's also Kaede in Inuyasha.
Oh my god, yeah, I know who that is.
So that's who that is too, the Dicastia Captain. So the Dicastia Executive Officer, which is the bitch that she's yelling at like constantly. Pauline Newstone, right? Are you ready for this? Frieza, okay? Additional voices in Sonic 1993 anime, okay?
Oh,
and then Air Razor.
You don't talk about that anime.
And then Air Razor from Beast Wars. So that character was in every episode too, I think. Then there's Cult Girl, right? Who's Nicole Borna, who is Snooky Wookums in Crypto the Super Dog, which is the evil cat that is like Crypto's arch nemesis.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Snooky Wookums, bro.
Snooky Wookums.
Yeah, we're getting there. She's also Marianne Hawk in Gundam Seed, and she's Blossom in the Powerpuff Girls Z show, I guess.
Japan tried to do Powerpuff Girls,
Yeah.
is basically a summary of that.
Okay, cool. She's also hot. She's a very attractive woman. Shout out to her. And then Analyst 1 is Russell Roberts, right? He was in Supernatural, Season 7, Episode 19, Season 10, Episode 3 and 10. And he was Greco from the original in 1990. And Ken in MacGyver Season 4, Episode 8. So, weird connections here. Like I said, the further this took me, I was like, damn, this is getting fun and more fun. So, Lead Revolutionary, right, by Lee Tucker. 209 credits. Big time additional voice guide mini franchises. You'll see it on the screen here. Somebody's seen something out of some of the things he's done sometime here. One hell of a list right there.
The two things that stand out the most is the My Little Pony connection and the X-Files connection.
Yeah, isn't that weird that like so many of those like background voice people?
And those are animators.
I left out some of the people who did other things, but I didn't leave out a whole lot of people. Basically, I couldn't. Was there anything else you had on that before we move on?
The Death Note guy, my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like Yagami and everything, yeah, man.
Ryvius.
Number 14. Are you surprised that almost no one faces consequences for the vast majority of the atrocities here? Okay.
Oh my god, this is something I actually wanted to talk about too.
Good.
The most glaring thing is obviously the Cult Girl.
Fina? Fina S. She
literally kills people, and they're just like
an attempt on another.
Yeah, so two murders and one attempted murder. Yep. And then the epilogue happens. I'm like, we're gonna see what happens to this bitch. And everybody's just like,
hold on. Also, conspiracy to commit assault because that cultist, that woman who essayed Aoi while she was by herself, which is something we also heard talk about before. But when that woman attacked her, and I said I wasn't sure if it was an attack or an essay, it was because Fina directed her to go attack them. So that's conspiracy to commit assault as well, my friend. And who knows what else they were doing in that weird, wacky cult of theirs.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest one. The second biggest one has got to be Izuki or whatever his name is.
Ikumi?
Ikumi. Does he face any consequences? I don't think he does. No. I don't think anybody does.
Nobody does. Hold on, and I'll explain it.
He was like a terroristic despot, whatever.
He was a terroristic despot. You're right. But no, so here's what I listed, right? So Berkovich gets his, okay. The saboteurs get theirs. The ship captains all get theirs. The Zwei, Blues Cruise, Grand, and his conspirator, they all get theirs. However, Fina gets away with double murder. There is incalculable amounts of EPAR that happen. Incalculable amounts of assault, administrative crimes, property crimes, and all sorts of other things that happen underneath of these terrible regimes.
Oh yeah, last time. Well,
that's the administration crimes, but I mean like the violent crimes and all that started happening like as soon as we went. I don't care, do whatever you want. Cool, let's go. You know? Yeah. And the boys were looking for some. So that's what I mean, and if you want to hear what I'm actually saying, I'm sure you can guess it, but on Rumble you'll be able to hear it. Beyond Berkovich, the saboteurs, the ship captains, the Zwei, Blues Cruise, Grand, his conspirator, nobody really...
Yeah, that was the most shocking part about the end. That really stood out to me. It was like, damn, really?
Yeah, everybody... Well, and it's weird, too, because this is totally like an earn your good ending kind of anime where they really make you work for it. And they make the main characters work for it, and it's all above board. It's not some Mary Sue kind of stuff. Well, she's just powerful, so she just wins. So many people died. I guess at least one person goes to jail. because Berkovich definitely goes to jail.
Dang. And then so they let Stein back on the ship, and he's literally like a psychopath that's just out in the open still, like, and nobody knows. Yeah.
Straight up Machiavellian sadist. He's got 2 of the 3 right there. If he's narcissist and cares about himself at all, guess what, buddy? That's the dark triad. Hate to say it, but let's call a spade, my man. Like,
he's just out in the open now.
Yeah, out in the open indeed. So
he's probably the scariest person out of all those to get away with it next to the crazy cult
you're
lady.
probably right, because those are the people that take your country down into the dregs of making sure that there is equality of outcome, and that outcome is that everybody's miserable. And like I say, it's insane to me, like, what gets away. And I think they don't really punish them because they know they've got them trying to kill them. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, okay.
Yeah, it's just was clear. It was more clear about that kind of thing.
Sorry, you guys.
Because that's kind of like, you know, the ending happens and you're just like, alright, what's going to happen to them now? And everybody's just holding hands like, woo.
Yeah, and like nobody's mad, and like there are people that do kind of take account. Like Stein totally mentions, like, I'm going to fix my mistakes if there were any last time. And totally just like skates on it, dude. Like, I hated it. He's one of my least favorite characters, just because of what he does, not so much who he is. But you know, it's just crazy. I just think that everybody Karma Houdiniing in this and really pulling off the whoosh, you almost had me whoosh, ninja vanish. You know what I mean? It's such a pain in the ass, especially with something that's like this. But that's fine. Some people do get away with it in the end. Some people are assholes like that. Question number 15. Can you explain how the original planetary government is supposed to work at all to me?
No, they never really delve into that, and they don't deal with the adults' business too much.
Or what's happening on Earth. Earth is
didn't you mention there was like 4 different, like,
the
mysterious,
Orbital Space Bureau, that's the group of people that's tracking them down. That's the group that Conrad's with. There's like the Interplanetary Alliance or the Interplanetary Association Alliance or something like that.
Just give us like a political map or something. Just flash a political map for like 5 seconds so we can just kind of break it down. But no, we don't get that. But it's not important to them. So,
I don't know. I think it might have been one of the things that just fell by the wayside. It's just, but it definitely was something that bothered me because I mean, I like how they threw all the acronyms around, and it just makes me think. Okay. I'm gonna do some speculation here, but it's gonna be based on some facts, right? Okay, so we know again about the spy, right? We know all about their government and the way it's set up, right? We can only then presume, based on what the spy were able to replicate in their own test society, that the society they came from before functions very similar, right? So it's reasonable to assume that there might be a bureaucratic overload and a bunch of fucking stupid ass organizations all over the goddamn government. Kind of like what's happening in our world right now in the United States. Where there's a bunch of organizations and agencies that are just out there doing some crazy shit.
Yeah, just doing whatever they want.
And that would be a lot like our representative republic, which is more or less meritocratic. Still, anyway, at least for right now. But I think it seemed to lack details, and they have just a bunch of different names, so it's just more of the same kind of.
Yeah, that's all they're just pulling out of their ass, like whenever an episode comes up, and it needs to be a different organization.
Hi, I'm from the the Government Expositional Safety Board. Hi, nice to meet you.
From the Bureau of Public Safety.
Yeah, right. Ugh, scary words.
Ryvius.
Number 17. Did you notice that Berkovich, essentially gets what he wanted, even though he has to go to jail again? Do you remember what his plan was, right?
To save the world?
Yeah, the galaxy, because of the Godot phenomenon, and that they needed the Via ships to do that. So his whole... So let me, I guess, explain
this. I think I understand it. Yeah.
Well, I'll explain it for the sake of the audience, too.
Sure.
And just to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Mission codename, Vecker. Plan drafted, Earth Standard Date, October 21st, 2223. 6 months subsequent, initial phase commences. Posing as staff members, 2 special agents of the Orbital Security Bureau infiltrate the astronaut training center Liba Delta. Their mission? To change the Liba Delta's course and capture a Via ship concealed within it. April 28th, 2225. In accordance with its own maintenance schedule, the Liba Delta descends into Shear 1 to replenish its energy stores and discard the central pillar, worn down as a result of exposure to the Godot. The dive takes place. At this time, a majority of the staff and students were on a break and had returned to their respective homes. According to the shuttle's passenger lists, 68 staff members and 534 students were left on board. You abandoned the lives of over 600 people for a mere operation? Berkovich, you bastard.
Remember, Kozue asks Ikumi if he's going to go back home or not for like the very last shuttle home. And he says no, and she gets all pissed off at him, and he can't figure out why. It's because he hasn't figured out women yet. That's what they were trying to hint at right there, is that that's the last shuttle home, and anybody else who's on this shuttle is about to get fucking murdered. So they basically said, okay, once all the people are off, because it's like a controlled descent, they were like, okay, you know, well, we need more adult-eating, angry squid, well, I guess not angry, but stoic squid monster ships. How do we do that, boss? Well, we kill a bunch of people and say that a bunch of terrorists blew it up, but then there were 2 guys that got in there right at the last point, and then they took the ship, and oh look, the ship can survive at sheer 7. And that was basically what the plan was originally. But all those f***ing kids did it all up, right?
Damn kids.
So Scooby-Doo got in the way. It would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you f***ing kids. So it's a 26-episode Scooby-Doo anime, I guess. Yeah. But all of Hyperion and most of whoever was left on the Liba Delta, that all those people in the control room, they show that other scene too of other people that are dead in the darkness. I forget which episode it is. It's early on, obviously. It's before they separate the Liba Delta station into the ether and the Gadol. So they go so far as to show that.
Hey, over here, it's terrible! We've got to let the bridge know now!
What's up?
And this dude goes to jail, but eventually he gets what he wants. I think they tried to tie it in with responsibility, right? Like he thought it was his responsibility to save the planet and to save humankind, so...
Wasn't it like we wanted to have the public perception like to be good so they can actually go through with it, and that was like the problem they were having?
Well, and it's because they, like I said, the original plan was, I guess, for them to go in there and hijack, kill the control room people, and then say that they killed the terrorists in that, but that the station was destroyed, and then say that the only thing that saved them was that buyer ship.
Yeah, that's right.
That must have been what the original plan
was.
So I'm using fridge logic to get there. But
that's interesting, yeah. That's an interesting point.
So, but I think that the way that they do it is, it's weird, because like I said, Berkovich essentially still gets what he wants. He just has to go to jail for the price for it. That's it.
And how long does he go to jail for?
I don't even know. I can't remember if they say.
Probably forever.
It's like I said, they tried to tie it to his responsibility. Like he felt like he had to save the human race no matter what the cost. He literally gets what he wants, because the end of this anime is like 100 years later. It shows the ship just eating that Gadol. I guess, like the Vaya we're doing earlier.
Delicious.
Num-nums. Better than chicken fingers, maybe.
Ryvius.
Question number 18. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Where, oh where, did that other gun go? Okay, because the saboteurs had 2. There were 2 of them, and they both had a gun. Okay? Both of them had a gun.
I thought something happened to it.
So here's what happens. Like so Blue and the boys rush in and bust their ass. One of the guys, old school 80s wrestling somersault flipped into one of those contraptions that imprisons him, and his gun flies off the screen. Fu Namchai grabs the other dude and flips him over, grabs his gun, and so basically turns him over and then hands the gun to Blue, if I'm not mistaken. So one of those guns disappears, like right there, and is never shown ever again. Ever. Never seen it. Nobody's looking around for it. Like, wait, weren't there 2 guns? So I don't know if that's a continuity error or if that was on purpose, but
I guess I thought it was destroyed or something.
Where is that gun? Where the f*** is that gun? I'm upset. I'm upset that it didn't come back. So what do you think happened?
I thought it was destroyed. I thought it just got unexisted.
Like the plot needed to
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I never questioned it.
But
maybe the gun got kicked off into space or something.
I don't think so. They're in that little mini control bridge on the training ship, dude. They're totally in that little tiny enclosed space. So somebody would have bounced off a wall or something. But one of those guns. Straight up. And it would have changed everything. Like, and they could have brought it back. Like, what if Johnson Cole, the stalker, Simpy guy, just all of a sudden finds that gun and decides, hey, bitch, like, you are my girlfriend now, and I'm killing anybody who says otherwise. Or what if Naya finds it?
Yeah, that'd be the great person to have a gun.
Yeah.
For,
what are
Tina.
you doing?
Fina.
No, not her.
Yeah,
well, that would have been crazy too.
Leave bias.
Question number 19, which we're really close to the end here. Have you ever seen an anime that executes heavy emotional scenes so well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything you've ever seen that's like this? And I don't think so. On all the anime I've ever seen.
Parasite.
You think?
Parasite the Maxim. I know there's some more examples, but this anime does it very well, and I would put this anime in the league with those animes of being able to do that. So Parasite the Maximum is definitely in there because he goes through like the death of his parents and stuff, and it's like real raw.
And man, I've seen it, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it gets crazy. And the first time I watched it, I was like,
Is it like so? Would you
hey, your family's dead now. What's up?
Would you put it on the level of that one big time plot twist from the Future Diaries? And that
yeah, that's the other one I was thinking of too. Like that was.
That's one hell of a this changes everything moment. Yeah, that really is.
I think it's a mess. That was another jaw dropper for sure. So, but this anime definitely goes up there with that, or just like with the how did you word it?
That executes heavy emotional scenes so well.
Yeah, that. So this is definitely the same league as Future Diary. I would say Parasite the Maxim is definitely up there. I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely what they do with Aoi. Like, oh my god, like that's just like, yeah, that's just like, she's just like has just the worst day ever in anime.
Yeah, so speaking of which, that's a nice segue. Let me detail a couple of scenes here, right? Fina losing her mind is what I have written down here. So Fina losing her mind when she tries to strangle Kouji and then realizes that she can't leave her past behind. That's a pretty heavy emotional scene right there. Where we find out for real that then she confesses to killing those other two people. Pretty big scene right there, right? Pat's dad and like anything to do with Pat's father and their relationship. And when he in Heroes and he sacrifices himself because of his responsibility, that's a pretty heavy emotional scene, like I said, like right off the bat. Reiko abandoning Kozue, as we talked about before, a very heavy fucking scene right there. Aoi being abandoned by all of her roommates.
Yeah.
That's another really tough one, because everybody she loves and knows just decides to leave her. Also, Aoi and Kozue's super awkward friend breakup that I just fucking referenced. How about that? Captain Conrad going the way of Old Yeller, very heavy emotional scene right there. Aoi and Koji's many interactions during the kindling of their romance, that whole thing. And then finally, Ikumi cracking over his white cest. That's another really powerful emotional moment, like when he goes just full on, Terminator on everybody's ass and starts beating the shit out of literally everybody.
One thing this anime excels on compared to the ones I already said is that I think this one has a lot more different situations where they evoke that rather than focusing on one or two characters, but that's just because there's so many characters.
Sure.
But I did just think of some more. Guilty Crown does a really good job. Guilty Crown is so crazy. The Psychopath does it too. There's like some really, really heavy shit in that.
You're naming great anime. I've never seen Guilty Crown. I can never get around. So this is Guilty Crown. This is the opposite of Guilty Crown's outfits for sure.
Yeah.
Everything in Guilty Crown is fucking crazy. I could never get into it, but
maybe we'll try. With governments and stuff in that one too. Yeah.
And maybe we'll try. Maybe we'll try that one down the road. But this one, what I mean specifically here is this builds the characters and then puts them in very believable situations that were definitely bound to be arriving anyway based on what's happened, and the emotional pressure and the emotional pain that some of these people feel when they actually feel that loss. It's well set up. Makes sense. The characters respond in a way that they would because they understand that. They understand that emotional side of things so well in this.
Yeah, everything I said definitely fits those bills too.
For sure.
That's exactly what I was looking for when I was thinking of animes too.
This is much more a character study and all that kind of stuff, where we're looking at the personalities, how they interact, so on and so forth, yada yada. The way that those interact, when those big time emotional beats boil up, they really execute them just so well. It's so well thought out in the run up to it and the aftermath of it. Like how they, get there and then how they respond after and grow as characters. It's excellent with that those heavy emotional scenes. Hard to do as a writer.
But we were about this one, NHK. We actually
you're
seen
right.
that one.
Yeah, we did that one a long while ago. Another mention of another anime we've done. We talked with G Savior was another, even not an anime. But Mark, as Mark Cullen, we're just going to walk away from that, and we're going to walk away from that topic.
Don't be ridiculous.
Question number 20. How accurate do you think this is in regards to psychology?
Man, we made it this far without mentioning it, but here it comes, Lord of the Flies.
Sure.
I'm actually surprised we made it this far without saying it once.
Yeah, man, and we're 4 hours in.
Yeah. What happens if you put a bunch of people in isolation and then they have to fend for themselves?
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of like
anime.
it's on steroids though. Because there are 487 of them. It's shouted out like a couple of times. Again, I'm going to kind of be hinting at the same thing we just talked about, which is that these characters are so well treated that they make so much sense. What they do, how they get there, how they react to it. It is perfect, and I've talked about this before, right? I'm gonna bring up another Weebinar favorite here and talk about the prequels, right? The prequel trilogy, right, of Star Wars. The problem with those movies is that George Lucas doesn't understand the characters, right? This is completely the opposite. This understands the absolute out of its characters, and it treats them well. It has them perform as if it makes sense. We're not just told that something happens. We're not just told that Kouji becomes a man. We get to have a whole episode where he is a whole ass man. He looks different in different clothing. He's actually making good and positive decisions and not waffling and being a little bitch. And he totally flirts with Aoi. We get to see the growth. We're not just told that it happened. We're not just told, well, Kouji and I fell in love and then we had a baby. And no, we get to see it. And we get to see it with every character at every single turn through the emotional scenes. And because the psychological profiles of these people make so much sense and they feel like real characters, it ends up being almost impossible to do anything other than relate to somebody in this cast of gigantic characters we have here.
Yeah, all the decisions each character makes fits their psychological profile, and they always act accordingly based on their character, and that kind of drives the narrative the way it does. So they don't force anything; it all kind of naturally happens based on their decisions.
Right. Yeah. Not very much just contrived coincidence going on with this plot, and not very much that's convenient. The most convenient thing is that Kouji teleports to the bridge right after he goes into the bed. You know what I mean? That's the most convenient thing. But no, you're right. That it's because they're all well set up like that. This does again what the trilogies don't do, and what doesn't make sense with them. There are two levels to the plot, right? You have your what is happening, right? Okay, these kids are on a ship. They're trying to survive, so they work together. That's what is happening, right? But then, okay, does that feel right? Do the way that all of those conclusions and setups happen with one another, does that feel right? Is that emotional undercurrent correct? Does that take you out of it because there's no way that character would do that? Or does it make you think, yeah, okay, well, it seems like a pretty relatable character. I can imagine why they would do that because this is well set up and I know these characters, right? And this is definitely something that nails the vibe. The tone of this is perfect, I think, in a lot of ways, and it really nails that emotional undercurrent. It 1000% understands what it's doing with you emotionally, with these characters, and what these characters are thinking and feeling at any given point in time. And it's all because of that psychological exactness or verisimilitude, if you want to have a fancy word for
it.
Question number 21. Did you know that the director of this, Goro, also did Scrido and then Planetes right after this?
Who did?
Goro Taniguchi. He was the director of Scrido right before this in 97, and then Planetes right after this.
Definitely some improvement each time there.
Well, I think that if you think about it, Planetes and this are really, really similar.
Realistic Mecha.
Yeah, hard science fiction.
Trash can robots.
Lots of people and lots of kids all around each other in a high school setting, but in space.
Yeah, space social dynamic and
Good,
space isolation.
What good motivations for the characters and shit. Well-treated characters. It's just interesting.
Characters that make decisions they're supposed to make,
Well,
which is a big problem with a lot of animes.
Not even supposed to make, but that make sense to make.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
For sure. So, what are you thinking about a rating here, man? What are you thinking?
Oh gosh. I forgot the rating stuff. I should have thought about this sooner.
Might have been a good idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring this to work here.
Do you want me to rate it while you're thinking about it?
Yeah.
Alright, fair enough. So, I think this is a word that I don't think I've thrown out other than with Paranoia Agent. And I think this is a masterpiece in a lot of ways. I think this is just straight up and down. It reminds me of The Sopranos in a lot of ways. Simply because there is a large group of diverse characters. All of their motivations not only make sense, but they're well written. The scenarios that we see most of the time are impactful. This is an emotional masterpiece, and something that really kind of nails the psychology of the human condition. And on top of that, it really gets the emotional undercurrent correct. And it doesn't screw up the actual plot, the top level plot stuff too badly. I think there are things that are left unexplained, and there are some things that they probably could have made better use of as far as their recap. We could have gotten more use out of those kinds of things. We could have gotten more explanation on like the world itself and how the government works. But they still did, to be fair, they still did explain a whole lot. Like we got a whole sort of like compilation about how the Gadol came to be and all that stuff, so I appreciate that. At the end of the day, I wish the robots were more, more good robot, more smash big, yeah. I kind of wish there was more action, but I understand why there wasn't. This isn't something, like the action's kind of like an afterthought in this. And I also think maybe the art direction's a little bland, but like you said, it's on purpose. Or at least, even if it isn't on purpose, it ends up working toward your favor. And that could have been it. And it could have been because it was made on the cheap, because I've seen that allegation levied at it a lot of times in some of the reviews I looked up. So.
Yeah, they got to animate 10 hours worth of stuff on a budget less than a movie.
True. And doing 10 hours of anything in a short amount of time is crazy, as we found out here today. And I think with that said, I think I got to give this like I'm going to have to give this like a 27.9 out of 30. Which is pretty high praise. I'm not sure if I've given anything a rating that high before. I mean, I think what they did, the beginning drags on slightly, and that's where those are the things that really kind of hold us back from being a perfect anime. And it's also much too much with all the characters. It really is. And you got to be a person that really likes that kind of stuff. You got to be a person who can handle that, which I think would make it appeal to a lot of girls who are into sort of social interactions, who are into that kind of thing.
The Dragon Ball Z Pyros here.
And again, I don't understand why this was, like we were talking about before we started this, I don't get why this is obscure. It shouldn't be. It's great. Everybody who likes anime should watch this, for sure. No matter what. Like, even if you like newer stuff and you don't really like the 90s stuff, this is still definitely worth the time. Just because it's such a great narrative, and the message here is so great about, working your way through, and no matter how you disagree. Have you come to a conclusion yet, Zachary?
Yeah, I was just kind of bouncing between 7 and 8. I don't really know, but yeah, it does have some shortcomings. It's unfortunate because it could have been perfect.
It could have been. Well, that's why, those shortcomings are the only reason I'm taking. Basically mine ends up being a 9 out of 10.
Then I have to take into consideration the time it was made into, so I guess I'd probably give it 8 out of 10, because if I look at all the animes released in this particular time era, this is probably going to be like a top 5 or top 10 in that.
Should be.
Of those seats. Should be, yeah.
Should be.
So just based on that, I'll definitely give it the benefit of the 8, or maybe even a 9.
And this is, somebody who went, both the director and the writer went on to go, do gigantic things of their own. It's one of those things that I think it's a shame, and it's kind of shocking to me that more people don't know about this. And I hope that this review is something that basically, opens eyes for people like that, who have never seen it and who can actually get a feel for what it is, because we've gone through it pretty thoroughly here. But I definitely, since this is a review, something we almost never do on the shows, I definitely recommend that you go and you buy this particularly, this DVD set. not any of the weird Chinese Blu-ray reproductions that they're over there making. I'm not sure if you're gonna get the right thing when you buy that. But I do know that these work, and these are all Zack's, so there's at least that. So next time around, we're gonna do something that's about 10 years older, and that is The Transformers, the movie. As you can see here, I have the this wonderful UHD and Blu-ray copy here, and I'm excited to do this. This is probably my favorite movie of all time. I don't know, it's so hard to actually pick a favorite. This movie I've seen thousands of times, probably before the age of 10. I watched this movie over 1,000 times. So I had a VHS of this and watched it oh so much. So this is just like super duper playing a game at the home stadium for me with this one. I'm going to be able to recap this movie from memory and to be able to not only do that, but drop lines while we're at it, because I know this movie so well. But anyway, it's one of these things I wanted to talk about. It's kind of anime, because I'm pretty sure the animators are Japanese, but it's definitely like an American movie, and we're kind of taking a step away like we did with G-Savior a little bit, but we're just kind of spreading our wings. And also, I want to say that Biogun said in the comments, and was talking with me in the comments, and said that we gave a couple of anime that we are going to consider for a review, and we're probably going to, there were like I think 4 or 5, and I think 3 of those are going to get like a hard-ass review at some point from us, like at least. So that's going to be fun. Look out for that. Look out for this when we do this 1980s classic featuring the likes of Leonard Nimoy and Orson Welles and Judd Nelson from The Breakfast Club, you know. Totally another 80s. It's totally a time capsule, this movie, with the music and everything too. Alright, well then, we appreciate you being here. Please remember to like and subscribe. That will help us grow. You'll be able to see more of our content. But you don't have to do that, because we're just happy for the opportunity. And with that said, again, thanks for being here. We'll see you next time when we do this masterpiece of a film. Say goodbye to the people, Zach.
Goodbye, everybody.